Are you stuck in the endless hustle loop, working harder but never getting ahead? Imagine if you could earn money even while you sleep, freeing yourself from constant stress and reclaiming your time. The truth is, trading hours for dollars caps your income, steals your freedom, and burns you out. If you're tired of feeling busy but broke, passive income mindset, escape the hustle, and start earning while you sleep is your escape route. Inside Passive Income Mindset, discover how to escape the exhausting trade of time for money, the surprisingly easy way of building systems that work without you, how small mindset shifts can transform your finances, the secret to creating automated income streams, and much, much more. If you're ready to finally control your time and achieve real financial freedom, this book is your blueprint. Even if you've tried other passive income strategies before or think you don't have enough time to start. Take action now and build the life you deserve. Chapter 1. Wake-up call. Your alarm screams at 6 a.m. You roll out of bed, already mentally racing through today's endless to-do list. Coffee in hand, you dive into emails, meetings, calls, deadlines. Hours blur together in a frantic dance of productivity theater. By evening, you're drained, stressed, and somehow further behind than when you started. Sound familiar? If you're nodding your head right now, you're trapped in the most dangerous illusion of modern work, the belief that more effort equals more income, that grinding harder will finally break you free. That success is just one more late night, one more weekend sacrifice, one more hustle away. Here's the brutal truth. You're running on a hamster wheel, and the faster you run, the faster it spins. You're trading the most precious resource you have, your time, for money that never seems to be enough. And while you're burning yourself out, a small group of people has figured out a completely different game. They've discovered the secret of leverage, the hustle trap that's stealing your life. Let me paint you a picture of two entrepreneurs who started their journeys on the exact same day. Meet Sarah and David. Both launched their businesses 5 years ago with identical skills, identical capital, and identical dreams of financial freedom. Sarah chose the hustle path. She believed in outworking everyone. 16-hour days became her badge of honor. She wore exhaustion like a medal. Sleep is for the weak, she'd joke, downing her 5th coffee of the day. Sarah's income grew, slowly, painfully, linearly. Every dollar required her direct involvement. Every client demanded her personal attention. Every sale meant another hour stolen from her life. David chose differently. From day one, he asked a different question. How can I earn money while I sleep? Instead of working harder, he worked on building systems. Instead of trading time for dollars, he created assets that generated income without his constant presence. Fast forward 5 years. Sarah makes $120,000 annually, but works 80 hours a week. She's stressed, her relationships are strained, and she can't take a vacation without her income stopping. David makes $300,000 annually, working 25 hours a week. His income flows whether he's at his desk, on a beach, or asleep. The difference? Sarah built a job, David built a machine. This isn't about talent, luck, or connections. This is about understanding a fundamental principle that separates the wealthy from the busy: leverage. The hidden costs of trading time for money. Every minute you spend trading your time for money, you're making a choice. You're choosing immediate gratification over long-term freedom. You're choosing the familiar grind over the uncertain path to leverage. But what's this choice really costing you? First, your earning potential hits a ceiling. There are only 24 hours in a day. Even if you work every single one of them, you've capped your income at your hourly rate times 24. That's it. Game over. Meanwhile, inflation quietly erodes your purchasing power every year. The $100,000 you make today will buy what $95,000 bought last year. Second, your stress compounds like interest, but in reverse. As your income plateaus, your expenses don't. The mortgage payment doesn't care that you're exhausted. Your kid's college fund doesn't pause because you're burned out. The pressure builds, decision fatigue sets in, and your creativity, the very thing that could free you, withers under the weight of constant urgency. Here's another hidden cost. Your relationships pay the price. How many dinners have you missed? How many conversations have you cut short because you had to work? How many moments with the people you love have you sacrificed on the altar of busyness? Time is the ultimate non-renewable resource, and you're spending it like it's infinite. And finally, your health becomes collateral damage. Chronic stress doesn't just make you feel bad, it literally rewires your brain. It suppresses your immune system, disrupts your sleep, and clouds your judgment. You're not just working yourself to death metaphorically, you're doing it literally. Here's what terrifies me most. While you're grinding away, thinking you're building security, you're actually building the opposite. You're creating a house of cards that collapses the moment you can't work. One injury, one illness, one economic downturn, and your entire income stream evaporates. The leverage revolution. Now imagine a different reality. Imagine waking up to notifications on your phone, not urgent emails or crisis calls, but sales notifications. Money flowing into your accounts while you slept. Imagine having the freedom to choose your projects based on passion, not desperation. Imagine saying no to clients who drain your energy because you don't need their money to survive. This isn't fantasy, this is leverage. Leverage is the force multiplier that separates the wealthy from the busy. It's the difference between earning money once for work performed once versus earning money repeatedly for work performed once. It's the difference between being a slave to your business and being the owner of assets that work for you. There are 3 types of leverage that can transform your financial reality. There is code leverage, software, systems, and automation that work 24/7 without breaks, sick days, or salary demands. There is capital leverage, money that makes money, investments that compound, assets that appreciate while you focus on higher value activities. And there is collaboration leverage, other people's time, skills, and networks working to build your wealth while you orchestrate from above. The most successful people in history understood this principle. They didn't just work hard, they worked smart. They built systems, assets, and networks that generated wealth without their constant involvement. The compound effect of delayed gratification. Here's where most people fail. They want passive income to be instant. They want the benefits of leverage without the upfront investment. They want to harvest before they plant. But leverage requires a fundamental shift in thinking. It demands that you embrace delayed gratification, the ability to sacrifice immediate pleasure for long-term gain. Stanford University conducted a famous study with children and marshmallows. Kids were given 1 marshmallow and told they could eat it immediately or wait 15 minutes and get 2 marshmallows. The researchers followed these children for decades and discovered something remarkable. The kids who waited for the second marshmallow had higher SAT scores, lower rates of obesity, better relationships, and higher incomes as adults. The ability to delay gratification is the single strongest predictor of success in life. Building passive income is your marshmallow test. Every hour you invest in creating systems instead of serving clients is a choice for 2 marshmallows. Every dollar you reinvest instead of spending is a vote for your future self. Every automated process you build is a compound interest payment on your freedom. The 5-step freedom formula. The path from hustle to leverage isn't mysterious. It's a systematic process that thousands of entrepreneurs have followed to build wealth while reclaiming their lives. Here's the roadmap. The first step is a complete mindset shift. You must replace the employee mindset with the investor mindset. Stop thinking like someone who trades time for money and start thinking like someone who builds assets that generate income. This fundamental change in perspective is the foundation upon which everything else is built. Once you've shifted your mindset, the second step is to automate everything possible. Identify every repetitive task in your business and systematically eliminate your involvement through technology and delegation. Look at every process that requires your direct attention and ask yourself how it can be automated, outsourced, or eliminated entirely. The third step involves building robust systems. Document and optimize your processes until they run predictably without your constant oversight. Create standard operating procedures, checklists, and workflows that can be followed by anyone, including yourself, when you're not at your best. The fourth step is to diversify your income streams. Create multiple streams of passive income that aren't dependent on your direct involvement. Don't put all your eggs in one basket. Build several different revenue streams that can support each other and provide stability even when one stream faces challenges. Finally, the fifth step is to reinvest your profits wisely. Channel your earnings back into assets that compound your wealth exponentially. Instead of spending your profits on lifestyle inflation, use them to acquire more assets that generate even more income. This creates a snowball effect where your wealth grows faster and faster over time. Each step builds on the previous one. Each step increases your leverage. Each step moves you closer to the ultimate goal, financial freedom. Winners versus losers, the great divide. The world is divided into two types of people, those who understand leverage and those who don't. Winners think in decades, not quarters. They plant trees whose shade they may never enjoy because they understand that wealth is built through patience and compound growth. They embrace systems, love automation, and view delayed gratification as an investment in their future selves. Losers think in paychecks. They chase quick cash, hate routines, and fear uncertainty. They mistake motion for progress and busyness for productivity. They're addicted to the immediate dopamine hit of a completed task rather than the long-term satisfaction of built assets. Winners build assets. They create things that generate income without their presence. Courses, software, investment portfolios, systems, and processes that work while they sleep. Losers build jobs. They create businesses that require their constant involvement, trading one boss for 100 clients, one schedule for 1,000 deadlines. Winners embrace uncertainty. They understand that the path to leverage requires stepping into the unknown, experimenting with new models, and accepting short-term discomfort for long-term freedom. Losers cling to certainty. They choose the familiar grind over the uncertain path to freedom because it feels safer, even though it's actually riskier in the long run. Which category do you fall into? More importantly, which category do you want to fall into? The success stories that prove it's possible. Let me share two stories that illustrate the power of leverage thinking. The first story is about Tim Ferriss. He was working 80-hour weeks running a nutritional supplements company when he realized he was building a prison, not a business. Instead of continuing to grind, he systematically automated every aspect of his operation. He hired virtual assistants to handle customer service, automated his inventory management, and created systems that allowed the business to run without his daily involvement. This freed him to write The 4-Hour Workweek, launch a podcast empire, and become an angel investor, all while his original business continued generating passive income. Tim didn't work harder, he worked smarter. The second story is about Sarah Blakely. She started Spanx with $5,000 and a simple idea: better undergarments for women. But instead of trying to manufacture and distribute everything herself, she leveraged other people's factories, other people's distribution networks, and other people's retail relationships. She focused on what only she could do: product development and brand building, while leveraging existing infrastructure for everything else. When she sold a majority stake in Spanx, it was valued at $1.2 billion. Sarah didn't build a manufacturing empire. She built a brand that leveraged other people's manufacturing empires. These aren't outliers. They're examples of what happens when you understand and apply leverage principles. The cost of inaction. Here's what happens if you don't act on this knowledge. 5 years from now, you'll be exactly where you are today, just 5 years older and 5 years more tired. Your income will have grown linearly, if at all. Inflation will have eroded your purchasing power. Your stress levels will be higher, your energy lower, and your options fewer. 10 years from now, you'll watch as people who started their leverage journey today surpass you financially while working fewer hours. You'll see them taking vacations you can't afford, pursuing passions you don't have time for, and living the life you dreamed of but never built. 20 years from now, you'll face retirement with insufficient savings, declining health, and the bitter realization that you spent your most productive years building someone else's dreams instead of your own assets. The clock is ticking. Every day you delay is a day of compound growth you'll never get back. Your first step to freedom. But here's the good news. You can start today, right now, this moment. Your journey to passive income doesn't require massive capital, technical expertise, or perfect timing. It requires a decision, a commitment to stop trading time for money and start building assets that work for you. In the next 30 days, you're going to identify one skill you possess that can be systematized, automated, or leveraged. You're going to create your first micro passive income stream. You're going to take the first step from hustle to leverage. This isn't about getting rich quick. This is about getting rich systematically, predictably, and sustainably. The path ahead isn't easy, but it's simple. The strategies aren't complicated, but they require discipline. The results aren't instant, but they're inevitable for those who persist. You have a choice to make. You can continue running on the hamster wheel, hoping that somehow, someday, working harder will set you free. Or you can step off the wheel and start building the machine that generates wealth while you sleep. The difference between where you are and where you want to be isn't talent, luck, or circumstances. It's mindset. It's the decision to think like an investor instead of an employee. It's the commitment to build assets instead of trading time. But before you can build anything external, you must first rewire something internal. You must transform the very way you think about money, time, and success. You must undergo a fundamental mindset shift, and that transformation begins the moment you turn the page. Before we continue, make sure to subscribe to Grow to the Top and activate notifications to receive more self-improvement tips that will supercharge your growth. And make sure to give this video a thumbs up and share it with your friends. It really helps the channel grow. Thank you for your support. Chapter 2, Mindset Shift. There's a moment in every entrepreneur's journey when they stand at a crossroads. Two paths stretch before them, and the choice they make determines whether they'll spend their lives chasing money or having money chase them. Most people never even see this crossroads. They're too busy running, grinding, hustling their way through each day to notice that they're moving in circles. But you're different. You picked up this book. You read the first chapter. You're starting to see the cracks in the hustle mythology. Now comes the hard part, rewiring your brain. What I'm about to share with you isn't just another productivity hack or business strategy. It's a fundamental transformation of how you think about money, time, and success. It's the difference between being a consumer and being an investor, between reacting to circumstances and creating them, between working for money and having money work for you. But here's what most people don't understand about this transformation. It's not just about changing what you do. It's about changing who you are. The operating system of wealth. Your mindset is like the operating system of a computer. Everything else, your strategies, tactics, habits, and decisions are just applications running on top of it. If your operating system is corrupted, it doesn't matter how good your apps are. They'll crash, malfunction, or run slowly. Most people are running on an outdated operating system. They're using Employee OS 1.0, a mental framework designed for trading time for money, seeking security over growth, and consuming instead of creating. This operating system was perfectly adequate for the industrial age, when the path to prosperity was clear. Get a good education, find a stable job, work for 30 years, retire with a pension. But that world is gone. Today, the most successful people are running on Investor OS 2.0, a completely different mental framework that prioritizes asset creation over income generation, long-term thinking over short-term gratification, and leverage over labor. The shift from Employee OS to Investor OS isn't just a nice-to-have upgrade. It's essential for survival in the modern economy. Without it, you'll spend your entire career working harder and harder while falling further and further behind. Think about it this way. If you're still thinking like an employee while trying to build passive income, you're like someone trying to run modern software on a computer from 1995. It might work for a while, but eventually, the system will crash. The question isn't whether you need to upgrade your mental operating system. The question is whether you're willing to go through the discomfort of the installation process. The two fundamental identities. Every financial decision you make stems from one of two core identities: consumer or investor. The consumer identity is seductive because it feels good in the moment. Consumers see money as something to be spent. They work to earn to spend, and spend to feel better about working. Their financial decisions are driven by immediate gratification, social comparison, and emotional impulses. When consumers get extra money, they upgrade their lifestyle. When they see something they want, they find a way to buy it. When they feel stressed, they shop. The consumer mindset creates a vicious cycle. Work harder to earn more, spend more to feel better about working harder, then work even harder to afford the increased spending. It's a hamster wheel disguised as progress. The investor identity operates on completely different principles. Investors see money as soldiers in an army. Each dollar is deployed with a specific mission to generate more dollars. They work to acquire assets to generate income, and reinvest income to acquire more assets. Their financial decisions are driven by long-term thinking, opportunity cost analysis, and compound growth potential. When investors get extra money, they deploy it strategically. When they see something they want, they ask whether buying it will move them closer to or further from their financial goals. When they feel stressed, they focus on building systems that will reduce future stress. Here's the crucial insight. These aren't just different approaches to money. They're different identities, and your identity drives your behavior more powerfully than willpower, motivation, or external circumstances ever could. You can't build lasting wealth with a consumer identity any more than you can build a skyscraper with a foundation designed for a cottage. The structure will collapse under its own weight. The neuroscience of financial transformation. Your brain is remarkably plastic, but it's also remarkably stubborn. Every financial decision you've ever made has carved neural pathways in your brain. The more often you've made certain types of decisions, the deeper those pathways become. If you've spent years making consumer decisions, buying things for immediate gratification, spending windfalls on lifestyle upgrades, choosing comfort over growth, those pathways are like superhighways in your brain. They're the path of least resistance. Investor thinking, on the other hand, might be nothing more than a faint deer trail in your neural landscape. It's there, but it's overgrown, hard to find, and requires conscious effort to follow. This is why changing your financial mindset feels so difficult at first. You're literally fighting against years of neural conditioning. Your brain wants to take the familiar path, even if that path leads to financial mediocrity. But here's the remarkable thing about neuroplasticity. Every time you make an investor decision instead of a consumer decision, you strengthen the investor pathway and weaken the consumer pathway. Every time you choose delayed gratification over immediate pleasure, you're rewiring your brain for wealth. The transformation doesn't happen overnight, but it does happen. With enough repetition, the investor pathway becomes the superhighway, and consumer thinking becomes the overgrown trail. The question is, how many investor decisions are you willing to make before your brain gets the message? The Warren Buffett paradox. Warren Buffett is worth over $100 billion, making him one of the wealthiest people in human history. Yet he still lives in the same house he bought in 1958 for $31,500. He drives a modest car, shops at regular grocery stores, and famously eats at McDonald's. To most people, this seems paradoxical. Why would someone with unlimited resources choose to live so modestly? The answer reveals the fundamental difference between consumer and investor thinking. Buffett doesn't see his wealth as money to be spent. He sees it as a machine to be optimized. Every dollar he doesn't spend on lifestyle inflation is a dollar that can be invested to generate more dollars. He's not depriving himself. He's feeding the machine that creates his freedom. This mindset started early. When Buffett was a teenager, he calculated that every $25 he spent was actually costing him $1,000 in future value based on his expected investment returns. A $25 movie ticket wasn't just $25, it was $1,000 of future wealth that he was choosing to give up. Most people think Buffett became wealthy and then developed this mindset. The truth is the opposite. He developed this mindset and then became wealthy because of it. Buffett understood something that most people never grasp. Every financial decision is really a choice between your current self and your future self. Every dollar you spend on immediate gratification is a dollar you're stealing from your future freedom. This doesn't mean living like a monk or never enjoying your money. It means being intentional about every financial decision and understanding the true cost of your choices. When you start thinking like Buffett, something magical happens. You stop seeing sacrifices and start seeing investments. You stop feeling deprived and start feeling empowered. You stop working for money and start having money work for you. The lies that keep you broke. Before you can install new mental software, you need to delete the old programs that are corrupting your system. These are the lies that keep people trapped in consumer thinking, even when they desperately want to build wealth. The first lie is that passive income is instant. Social media is flooded with stories of overnight success, get-rich-quick schemes, and entrepreneurs who supposedly built million-dollar businesses in their spare time. These stories are either complete fabrications or they're highlighting the tip of an iceberg while ignoring the massive foundation of work beneath the surface. Real passive income requires active effort up front. It's like planting a fruit tree. You have to dig the hole, plant the seed, water it daily, protect it from pests, and wait years before you can enjoy the harvest. But once that tree is mature, it produces fruit for decades with minimal ongoing effort. The second lie is that you need money to make money. This belief keeps people trapped in poverty, thinking because they're always waiting for the right time to start investing. They tell themselves they'll start building wealth when they get a raise, pay off their debt, or save up a larger emergency fund. The truth is that wealth is built through behavior, not balance. Some of the wealthiest people in history started with nothing but the right mindset and the willingness to delay gratification. They understood that time is more valuable than money because time allows compound growth to work its magic. The third lie is that building wealth requires sacrifice. This framing makes investor thinking feel like punishment, which makes it unsustainable. The reality is that building wealth requires trade-offs, not sacrifices. You're not giving up happiness, you're choosing long-term happiness over short-term pleasure. When you understand these lies and reject them, you create space for truth to take root in your mind. And truth is the foundation of all lasting wealth. The daily practices that rewire your brain. Mindset transformation doesn't happen through inspiration alone. It happens through repetition, through daily practices that gradually shift your neural pathways from consumer thinking to investor thinking. The most powerful practice is what I call the future self letter. Every morning, before you check your phone or dive into your work, spend 5 minutes writing a letter to yourself from the perspective of your future self 90 days from now. This future version of you has successfully implemented one passive income stream and is enjoying the early fruits of leveraged thinking. Write about how it feels to wake up to income notifications. Describe the sense of freedom that comes from knowing your money is working while you sleep. Detail the specific changes in your daily routine, your stress levels, and your relationships. Make it vivid, emotional, and specific. This practice does something remarkable to your brain. It makes your future self feel real and immediate. Instead of being an abstract concept, your wealthy future self becomes a person you know intimately. And when you know someone intimately, you're more likely to make decisions that benefit them. The second practice is the opportunity cost ledger. Every time you're tempted to make a purchase that isn't essential, write down what else you could do with that money. If you're considering a $200 dinner, calculate what that $200 could become if invested at a 10% annual return over 10 years. Spoiler alert, it's over $500. This isn't about never enjoying your money. It's about making conscious choices instead of unconscious ones. Sometimes you'll decide the immediate pleasure is worth the opportunity cost, but often you'll realize that the future benefit far outweighs the present pleasure. The third practice is what behavioral economists call temptation bundling. Pair activities that are good for your future self with activities that feel good to your present self. Listen to your favorite podcast while setting up automated investment transfers. Work on your passive income project from your favorite coffee shop. Review your financial goals while taking a relaxing bath. This practice leverages your brain's reward system to make investor behaviors feel pleasurable instead of painful. Over time, you'll start to associate wealth-building activities with positive emotions, making them easier to maintain. The compound effect of small decisions. Most people dramatically overestimate what they can accomplish in a day and dramatically underestimate what they can accomplish in a year. This leads to a dangerous pattern. They set unrealistic short-term goals, fail to achieve them, get discouraged, and give up on their long-term vision. Investor thinking operates on the opposite principle. Small, consistent actions compound into extraordinary results over time. A 1% improvement every day doesn't feel like much, but it results in being 37 times better after 1 year. That's not a typo, it's the mathematical reality of compound growth. This principle applies to every aspect of wealth building. Reading 10 pages of a business book every day doesn't feel significant, but it's 36 books per year. Investing $10 per day doesn't feel like much, but it's $3,650 per year, which becomes over $200,000 after 20 years at a 10% return. The magic isn't in the size of the action, it's in the consistency of the action. Your brain is constantly monitoring your behavior for patterns. When it sees you consistently making investor decisions, it starts to shift your identity from consumer to investor. When your identity shifts, your behavior follows automatically. This is why the most successful investors don't rely on motivation or willpower. They rely on systems that make investor behavior automatic. They set up automatic transfers to investment accounts. They create automatic rules for financial decisions. They build automatic triggers that prompt wealth-building activities. Motivation fades, systems last, identity drives everything. The transformation timeline. Understanding the timeline of mindset transformation helps you stay committed when the process feels slow or difficult. Like any meaningful change, shifting from consumer to investor thinking happens in predictable stages. The first stage is awareness. You start to notice your consumer impulses before acting on them. You catch yourself reaching for your credit card and pause to ask whether this purchase aligns with your investor identity. This stage feels uncomfortable because you're becoming conscious of unconscious patterns. The second stage is conscious choice. You start making investor decisions, but they require significant mental effort. You have to think carefully about each financial choice, weigh the opportunity costs, and consciously choose the investor path. This stage feels exhausting because you're fighting against established neural pathways. The third stage is habit formation. Investor decisions start to feel more natural and require less mental energy. You automatically consider opportunity costs. You instinctively look for ways to turn expenses into investments. You naturally think in terms of long-term consequences rather than short-term pleasure. The fourth stage is identity integration. You stop thinking of yourself as someone who's trying to become an investor and start thinking of yourself as someone who is an investor. Your financial decisions flow naturally from this identity. Consumer impulses still arise, but they feel foreign and are easily dismissed. The timeline for this transformation varies by individual, but most people start seeing significant changes within 30 to 90 days of consistent practice. The key is persistence through the uncomfortable early stages when the new patterns feel forced and unnatural. Remember, every expert was once a beginner. Every investor was once a consumer. Every wealthy person was once broke. The difference isn't talent or luck. It's the willingness to endure temporary discomfort for permanent transformation. When the mind rebels, your brain will resist this transformation. It's designed to keep you safe, and change feels dangerous to the primitive parts of your mind. As you start shifting from consumer to investor thinking, you'll encounter predictable forms of mental resistance. The first form of resistance is impatience. Your consumer mind wants immediate results, but investor thinking requires delayed gratification. You'll be tempted to abandon the process when you don't see dramatic changes in the first few weeks. This is normal and expected. The antidote to impatience is milestone rewards. Set small, achievable goals and celebrate when you reach them. Completed your first week of Future Self letters? Treat yourself to something small but meaningful. Made your first automated investment transfer? Acknowledge the achievement. These celebrations reinforce the new neural pathways you're building. The second form of resistance is analysis paralysis. Your brain will try to protect you from making wrong decisions by preventing you from making any decisions at all. You'll find yourself researching endlessly, seeking the perfect strategy, waiting for complete certainty before taking action. The antidote to analysis paralysis is the 1 hour, 1 decision rule. Give yourself exactly 1 hour to research a financial decision, then make the best choice you can with the information available. Perfect decisions don't exist, but good decisions made quickly compound faster than perfect decisions made slowly. The third form of resistance is identity conflict. As you start making investor decisions, part of your mind will whisper that you're being cheap, boring, or obsessive. These thoughts arise because your old consumer identity is fighting for survival. The antidote to identity conflict is community. Surround yourself with people who share your investor mindset or are on the same transformation journey. Their support and example will reinforce your new identity and make the old consumer patterns feel increasingly foreign. The point of no return. There comes a moment in every mindset transformation when you cross a threshold. You stop trying to think like an investor and start being an investor. You stop forcing yourself to make good financial decisions and start being unable to make bad ones. This moment is different for everyone, but it's unmistakable when it happens. You'll find yourself automatically calculating opportunity costs. You'll feel physical discomfort when considering unnecessary purchases. You'll get excited about compound growth and bored by consumer culture. When you reach this point, you'll understand something profound. The mindset shift wasn't just about building wealth. It was about building a better version of yourself. Someone who thinks strategically instead of reactively. Someone who creates value instead of just consuming it. Someone who builds assets instead of just accumulating stuff. This transformation ripples out into every area of your life. You start thinking like an investor about your time, your relationships, your health, and your personal development. You begin to see everything through the lens of compound growth and long-term thinking. But here's what most people don't realize about this transformation. Changing your mindset is just the beginning. Once you start thinking like an investor, you need systems that allow you to act like one. You need processes that turn your new mental patterns into automated behaviors that generate wealth while you sleep. The next frontier isn't just thinking differently about money, it's about making money think for you through the power of automation. And that journey begins with a single, seemingly impossible goal: making everything work without you. Chapter 3. Automate everything. Picture this. It's 3 a.m., and while you're deep in sleep, your business is wide awake. Emails are being answered, sales are being processed, customers are being onboarded, money is flowing into your accounts. Your competition is dreaming, but your income stream is working. This isn't science fiction. This is the reality for entrepreneurs who've discovered the ultimate force multiplier: automation. But here's what most people get wrong about automation. They think it's about replacing themselves with robots or becoming some kind of tech wizard. They imagine it requires massive upfront investments or years of programming knowledge. They believe it's only for the Silicon Valley elite or Fortune 500 companies. The truth is far simpler and far more powerful. Automation isn't about becoming a tech genius. It's about becoming a strategic architect. It's about designing systems that work when you don't. It's about turning your business into a machine that generates wealth while you focus on what only you can do: think, create, and innovate. What I'm about to show you will fundamentally change how you think about work, time, and income generation. You're going to discover how to clone your best efforts, multiply your impact, and create income streams that flow whether you're at your desk or on a beach halfway around the world. The hidden prison of manual labor. Most entrepreneurs are unknowingly building their own prisons. They start a business to gain freedom, but end up creating a job that's more demanding than any boss they've ever had. They become the bottleneck in their own success story. Every email that requires your personal response is a chain around your ankle. Every customer service issue that needs your attention is another bar on your cell. Every sales process that depends on your direct involvement is a lock on your freedom. The cruel irony is that the harder you work, the more trapped you become. Success brings more customers, more problems, more decisions that only you can make. Your income grows, but your freedom shrinks. You're making more money, but enjoying less life. This is the manual labor trap, and it's where most small business owners spend their entire careers. They mistake being busy for being productive. They confuse working in their business with working on their business. They become highly paid employees of their own companies. But there's another way, a way that separates the entrepreneurs who build businesses from those who build jobs, a way that transforms you from the engine of your business into the architect of systems that run without you. The secret lies in understanding a fundamental principle. Anything you do more than once can be systematized, and anything that can be systematized can be automated. The 3 pillars of automation. True automation rests on 3 pillars: code, capital, and collaboration. Master these 3 forces, and you'll never again be the limiting factor in your own success. Code leverage is the first pillar. This isn't about becoming a programmer. It's about using existing software and platforms to handle repetitive tasks. Every time you manually send an email that could be automated, you're choosing to be inefficient. Every time you manually process a sale that could be handled by software, you're trading your time for tasks that technology can do better, faster, and more consistently. The beauty of code leverage is that it works 24/7 without breaks, sick days, or vacation requests. Software doesn't get tired, doesn't make emotional decisions, and doesn't forget important steps. It executes your instructions perfectly, every single time. Capital leverage is the second pillar. This is about using money to buy back your time through tools, software subscriptions, and services that eliminate manual work. Most entrepreneurs think backwards about this. They try to save money by doing everything themselves, not realizing that their time is their most valuable asset. When you spend $50 per month on automation software that saves you 10 hours of work, you're not spending money, you're buying freedom. When you invest in tools that handle routine tasks, you're purchasing the ability to focus on high-value activities that actually grow your wealth. Collaboration leverage is the third pillar. This involves other people's time, skills, and expertise working to build your systems. Virtual assistants, freelancers, and service providers become extensions of your capabilities, handling tasks that don't require your unique talents. The key insight is that you don't need to be good at everything. You just need to be good at orchestrating everything. You become the conductor of an orchestra, not the person playing every instrument. The Bezos Blueprint. Jeff Bezos understood automation before most people even knew what the internet was. When he started Amazon in his garage, he wasn't just building an online bookstore. He was building the world's most sophisticated automation machine. But here's the part of the Amazon story that most people miss. Bezos didn't start with massive automation. He started with simple systems that he gradually improved and expanded. The first Amazon warehouse was his garage, and he personally packed books into boxes. But from day one, he was thinking about how to systematize and automate every process. As Amazon grew, Bezos obsessively automated everything that could be automated. Customer service inquiries were handled by increasingly sophisticated systems. Inventory management became algorithmic. Even the decision-making process for what products to stock was automated through data analysis. The real genius move came when Bezos realized that Amazon's internal automation infrastructure could be sold as a service to other companies. Amazon Web Services was born, a business that now generates more profit than the entire retail operation. By automating their own processes so thoroughly, Amazon created a new revenue stream worth hundreds of billions of dollars. Today, AWS runs on autopilot, generating massive profits while Bezos focuses on space exploration and other ventures. The automation systems he built decades ago continue to compound wealth without his daily involvement. This is the power of thinking like an automation architect instead of a manual laborer. You don't just build a business, you build systems that build businesses. The automation myths that keep you stuck. Before you can embrace automation, you need to destroy the myths that keep most entrepreneurs trapped in manual mode. The first myth is that automation means zero work forever. This fantasy keeps people from starting because they're waiting for a magic solution that will eliminate all effort. The reality is that automation requires upfront work to set up systems, ongoing work to maintain and optimize them, and strategic work to expand and improve them. Think of automation like planting a garden. You have to prepare the soil, plant the seeds, water them regularly, and tend to the plants as they grow. But once the garden is established, it produces food with much less effort than it took to create it. Automation is the same. Significant effort up front, minimal effort ongoing, maximum results over time. The second myth is that only tech wizards can automate. This belief keeps people paralyzed because they think they need to learn programming or become technical experts. The truth is that most business automation today requires no coding knowledge whatsoever. Modern automation tools are designed for regular business owners, not computer scientists. If you can use email, you can set up automation systems. If you can follow step-by-step instructions, you can build workflows that run your business while you sleep. The third myth is that automation removes the human touch from your business. This fear keeps entrepreneurs from automating customer-facing processes because they worry about losing personal connections with their clients. The reality is that good automation enhances the human touch by freeing you to focus on high-value interactions. Instead of spending time on routine administrative tasks, you can invest your energy in strategic conversations, creative problem-solving, and relationship building that actually matter to your customers. The task liberation strategy. The journey to automation begins with a simple but powerful exercise, the task audit. For 1 week, track every single thing you do in your business, every email you send, every call you make, every process you complete. Write it all down. At the end of the week, you'll have a comprehensive list of where your time actually goes. Most entrepreneurs are shocked by this exercise because they discover how much time they spend on tasks that could easily be handled by systems or other people. Now comes the liberation part. Take your task list and categorize every item into one of 4 buckets: eliminate, automate, delegate, or elevate. Eliminate tasks are activities that don't actually need to be done at all. These are often busy work that makes you feel productive but doesn't move your business forward. Checking social media obsessively, attending unnecessary meetings, or perfectionist activities that provide diminishing returns. Cut these ruthlessly. Automate tasks are repetitive activities that follow predictable patterns. Email responses, appointment scheduling, invoice generation, social media posting, data entry, and follow-up sequences all fall into this category. These tasks are perfect candidates for software solutions. Delegate tasks are activities that need human involvement but don't require your specific expertise. Customer service inquiries, basic administrative work, research projects, and routine communications can all be handled by virtual assistants or other team members. Elevate tasks are the high-value activities that only you can do. Strategic planning, creative work, relationship building with key clients, and business development fall into this category. These are where you should spend the majority of your time once you've automated or delegated everything else. The goal isn't to eliminate all work. It's to eliminate all work that doesn't require your unique talents and perspective. The digital assembly line. Once you've identified what to automate, the next step is building your digital assembly line. This is where the magic happens, where individual tasks become interconnected systems that run without your involvement. Start with your most frequent, most time-consuming processes. For most businesses, this is the sales and customer onboarding sequence. Every time someone expresses interest in your product or service, what happens next? If the answer involves you manually sending emails, scheduling calls, or processing paperwork, you've found your first automation opportunity. A simple sales funnel automation might look like this. Someone visits your website and downloads a free resource. This triggers an automated email sequence that provides value, builds trust, and eventually presents your paid offer. If they purchase, they're automatically enrolled in your customer onboarding sequence. If they don't purchase, they're moved to a long-term nurture sequence that continues to provide value and occasionally presents offers. This entire process can run without any manual intervention from you. The software handles the email delivery, tracks engagement, segments customers based on their behavior, and even processes payments. You've created a digital employee that works 24/7 and never takes a sick day. But here's where most people stop and where the real opportunity begins. Once you have one automated process working smoothly, you can connect it to other automated processes. Your sales funnel can trigger your project management system. Your project management system can trigger your invoicing software. Your invoicing software can trigger your customer feedback system. Each connection multiplies the power of your automation. Instead of having isolated automated tasks, you have an integrated system where each component enhances the others. The virtual workforce revolution. While software handles your predictable processes, human collaboration handles everything that requires judgment, creativity, or personal interaction. The rise of virtual assistants and freelance platforms has made it possible to build a distributed team without the overhead of traditional employees. A virtual assistant working for $8 per hour can handle tasks that would cost you hundreds of dollars in opportunity cost if you did them yourself. Email management, appointment scheduling, research projects, data entry, and customer service inquiries can all be delegated to skilled professionals who specialize in these areas. The key is to start small and scale gradually. Begin by delegating one specific task to one virtual assistant. Create detailed instructions, establish clear expectations, and build systems for communication and feedback. Once this relationship is working smoothly, you can expand their responsibilities or add additional team members. Many entrepreneurs resist this step because they believe they can't afford to hire help. This is backwards thinking. You can't afford not to hire help if your time is worth more than what you're paying for assistance. Every hour you spend on tasks that someone else can do for $10 is an hour you're not spending on activities that could generate hundreds or thousands of dollars. The goal isn't to build a large team, it's to build a smart team. A few skilled virtual assistants working part-time can handle the majority of routine tasks in most businesses, freeing you to focus on strategy, innovation, and growth. The compound effect of small automations. Most people think automation has to be complex to be valuable. They imagine sophisticated artificial intelligence systems or elaborate software integrations. This thinking keeps them from starting because they're overwhelmed by the perceived complexity. The truth is that automation compounds. Small, simple automations build on each other to create massive time savings and efficiency gains. Automating your email responses might save you 30 minutes per day. Automating your appointment scheduling might save you another 20 minutes. Automating your invoice generation might save you 15 minutes. Individually, these automations seem minor, but together they free up over an hour every single day. That's 5 hours per week, 20 hours per month, and 240 hours per year. That's 6 full work weeks of time that you've bought back through simple automation. But the compound effect goes beyond just time savings. Each automation reduces your cognitive load, freeing mental energy for higher value thinking. Each automated process reduces the chance of human error, improving the quality and consistency of your customer experience. Each system you build makes it easier to build the next system. Over time, these small automations create a business that runs increasingly smoothly with decreasing input from you. You become less essential to the day-to-day operations, which paradoxically makes you more valuable as the strategic leader and visionary. The integration imperative. The real power of automation emerges when your individual systems start talking to each other. This is where tools like Zapier become game changers for small businesses. Zapier allows you to connect different software applications so that actions in one system automatically trigger actions in another system. When someone purchases your product, Zapier can automatically add them to your customer database, send them a welcome email, create a project in your management system, generate an invoice, and schedule a follow-up task for your team. What used to require multiple manual steps across different platforms now happens instantly and automatically. The beauty of these integrations is that they eliminate the gaps where things fall through the cracks. Nothing gets forgotten because humans don't have to remember to do it. Nothing gets delayed because systems don't procrastinate. Nothing gets done inconsistently because software follows the same process every time. As you build more integrations, your business starts to feel less like a collection of separate tools and more like a unified machine. Information flows seamlessly between systems. Processes trigger other processes automatically. Your entire operation becomes more than the sum of its parts. The monitoring paradox. Here's something counterintuitive about automation. The more you automate, the more important monitoring becomes. Automated systems are incredibly powerful, but they're also incredibly literal. They do exactly what you tell them to do, which isn't always what you want them to do. This is why successful automation requires what I call intelligent oversight. You're not doing the work anymore, but you're watching the systems that do the work. You're checking dashboards, reviewing reports, and analyzing performance metrics to ensure everything is running smoothly. The paradox is that this monitoring often takes less time than the original manual work, but it requires a different type of attention. Instead of focusing on individual tasks, you're focusing on patterns, trends, and exceptions. Instead of being reactive, you're being proactive. Set up weekly automation reviews where you check the performance of your key systems. Are emails being delivered? Are payments being processed? Are customers being onboarded smoothly? Are there any error messages or failed processes that need attention? This monitoring isn't busy work, it's strategic oversight. You're ensuring that your automated systems continue to serve your business goals and customer needs. You're identifying opportunities for improvement and optimization. You're maintaining the machine that generates your wealth. The human touch paradox. One of the biggest fears about automation is that it will make your business feel cold, impersonal, or robotic. This fear is understandable, but misguided. Good automation doesn't eliminate the human touch, it amplifies it. When you automate routine tasks, you free up time and energy for the interactions that really matter. Instead of spending your day answering the same questions over and over, you can focus on solving complex problems for your best customers. Instead of manually processing orders, you can spend time developing new products that serve your market better. The key is to automate the predictable and personalize the exceptional. Use automation to handle routine inquiries, but personally respond to complex issues. Automate your onboarding sequence, but personally welcome your highest value customers. Automate your follow-up emails, but personally call customers who seem to be struggling. This approach actually enhances your customer relationships because your personal attention becomes more valuable when it's not diluted by routine tasks. When customers know that you're personally involved in their success rather than just processing their transactions, they feel more valued and are more likely to become long-term advocates for your business. The scaling threshold. There comes a moment in every business when automation stops being a nice-to-have and becomes essential for survival. This threshold is different for every business, but it's usually around the point where manual processes start breaking down under their own weight. You'll know you've hit this threshold when you start making mistakes because you're overwhelmed. When customer service starts suffering because you can't respond to everyone quickly enough. When opportunities slip through the cracks because you don't have systems to track and follow up on them. This is actually a good problem to have. It means your business is growing. But it's also a critical decision point. You can either build the systems that allow you to scale, or you can become the bottleneck that prevents your business from reaching its potential. Most entrepreneurs try to power through this threshold with longer hours and more effort. This works temporarily, but it's not sustainable. Eventually, something breaks. Your health, your relationships, your customer satisfaction, or your sanity. The entrepreneurs who break through this threshold are the ones who recognize it as an automation opportunity rather than a work harder challenge. They invest in systems that handle the increased volume automatically, freeing them to focus on the strategic decisions that drive continued growth. The freedom formula. When automation is working properly, something magical happens. Your business starts to feel less like work and more like a game. You're not grinding through tasks. You're optimizing systems. You're not fighting fires. You're preventing them through better processes. You're not working in your business. You're working on your business. This shift is profound because it changes your relationship with work itself. Instead of feeling trapped by your business, you feel empowered by it. Instead of being exhausted by the daily grind, you're energized by the strategic challenges. Instead of counting hours, you're measuring results. The ultimate goal of automation isn't to eliminate all work. It's to eliminate all work that doesn't energize and fulfill you. It's to create a business that runs so smoothly that your main job becomes thinking about how to make it even better. When you reach this point, you'll understand why automation is the bridge between mindset and wealth. It's not enough to think like an investor. You need systems that allow you to act like one. You need processes that turn your strategic thinking into automated execution. But even the most sophisticated automation is only as good as the systems that guide it. Once your processes are running automatically, the next challenge becomes ensuring they're running optimally. And that requires a level of systematic thinking that most entrepreneurs never develop, a discipline that transforms chaotic automation into predictable wealth generation. Chapter 4. Build systems. There's a moment that separates successful entrepreneurs from those who remain trapped in their own businesses. It happens when they realize that their greatest achievement isn't a product, a service, or even a profit margin. It's something far more valuable and infinitely more rare. It's predictability. Most business owners live in chaos disguised as entrepreneurship. They celebrate the big wins and scramble through the inevitable failures. They ride emotional roller coasters of feast and famine, never knowing if this month's success can be repeated next month. They've built businesses that depend entirely on their personal heroics, their individual genius, their moment-to-moment decision-making. But there's a different way to build wealth, a way that transforms your business from a fragile house of cards into an unshakable fortress, a way that turns your one-time victories into repeatable, scalable, and eventually sellable assets. The secret lies in understanding something that most entrepreneurs never grasp: the difference between achieving results and creating systems that achieve results. One makes you money once, the other makes you money forever. What I'm about to share with you is the hidden architecture behind every business empire that has ever been built. It's the invisible foundation that allows companies to scale from garage startups to global giants. It's the reason why some businesses can be sold for millions while others can barely survive without their founders. The invisible infrastructure of success. Walk into any McDonald's anywhere in the world, and you'll experience something remarkable: consistency. The Big Mac in Tokyo tastes exactly like the Big Mac in New York. The service follows the same patterns. The cleanliness meets the same standards. The entire experience is virtually identical whether you're in Mumbai or Manhattan. This isn't an accident. It's the result of the most sophisticated business system ever created. But here's what most people don't understand about McDonald's. Ray Kroc didn't build a restaurant company. He built a system for creating identical restaurant experiences, then franchised that system to thousands of operators worldwide. The product wasn't hamburgers. The product was the system itself. This distinction is crucial because it reveals the fundamental difference between businesses that scale and businesses that stagnate. Scalable businesses are built on systems. Stagnant businesses are built on personalities. When your business depends on your personal involvement in every decision, every process, every customer interaction, you haven't built a business, you've built a job. A very demanding, very stressful, very limiting job that you can never leave. But when your business runs on documented, repeatable systems, something magical happens. You become dispensable in the best possible way. Your business can operate, grow, and profit without your constant presence. You've created something that works when you don't. The machine behind the magic. Every successful business is really a machine in disguise. It takes inputs, raw materials, information, customer inquiries, problems to solve, and transforms them through predictable processes into valuable outputs: products, services, solutions, satisfied customers. The businesses that struggle are the ones where this machine is invisible, undocumented, and entirely dependent on the founder's memory and intuition. The processes exist only in someone's head. The quality depends on someone's mood. The results vary based on someone's energy level. These businesses feel chaotic because they are chaotic. There's no predictable relationship between effort and outcome. Success feels random because it is random. Growth feels impossible because it is impossible without systems to support it. But businesses built on documented systems operate differently. They have predictable inputs that lead to predictable processes that generate predictable outputs. Quality becomes consistent because the process is consistent. Results become reliable because the system is reliable. This transformation from chaos to predictability isn't just about efficiency, it's about freedom. When your business runs on systems instead of heroics, you're no longer the bottleneck in your own success story. You're no longer trapped by your own creation. The franchise revelation. Ray Kroc understood something in the 1950s that most entrepreneurs still don't understand today. The real value isn't in the business itself, it's in the system that creates the business. When Kroc first encountered the McDonald Brothers restaurant in California, he wasn't impressed by their hamburgers. He was fascinated by their system. They had broken down every aspect of restaurant operation into simple, repeatable steps. They had eliminated waste, optimized efficiency, and created a process that could be taught to anyone. Kroc's genius wasn't in improving the hamburgers. It was in documenting the system so thoroughly that it could be replicated anywhere by anyone. He created operations manuals that specified everything from how to greet customers to how to clean the grill. He developed training programs that turned ordinary people into efficient operators of his system. The result was a business that could scale without depending on exceptional people. The system was so well designed that average people could achieve exceptional results by following it precisely. Quality became a function of process, not personality. This is why McDonald's became a global empire, while thousands of restaurants with better food remained single locations. The food wasn't the differentiator. The system was the differentiator. Today, McDonald's generates billions in revenue not just from selling hamburgers, but from licensing their system to franchisees worldwide. They've monetized their processes, their training programs, their operational knowledge. They've turned their systems into assets that generate wealth independently of any individual restaurant's performance. The creativity paradox. The biggest objection to building systems is the fear that they'll stifle creativity and innovation. Entrepreneurs worry that documenting processes will turn their dynamic, responsive businesses into rigid, bureaucratic machines. They believe that systems equal stagnation. This fear reveals a fundamental misunderstanding of what systems actually do. Good systems don't eliminate creativity, they liberate it. They don't prevent innovation, they enable it. They don't create rigidity, they create reliability. When your basic operations run on autopilot, your creative energy is freed for higher value activities. Instead of reinventing the wheel every time you onboard a customer, you can focus on creating better products. Instead of figuring out your sales process from scratch with each prospect, you can concentrate on understanding their deeper needs. Systems handle the predictable so you can focus on the exceptional. They manage the routine so you can pursue the revolutionary. They execute the known so you can explore the unknown. The most innovative companies in the world, Apple, Google, Amazon, are also the most systematic companies in the world. They've documented and optimized their core processes so thoroughly that innovation becomes possible at scale. Their systems don't constrain creativity, they amplify it. The documentation discipline. The journey from chaos to systems begins with a simple but powerful practice: documentation. Every process that happens more than once in your business should be captured, refined, and standardized. This isn't about creating bureaucracy for its own sake. It's about capturing your best practices so they can be repeated consistently. It's about preserving your institutional knowledge so it doesn't walk out the door when someone leaves. It's about creating a foundation for growth that doesn't depend on your personal memory or availability. Start by identifying your most critical processes, the activities that directly impact customer satisfaction and revenue generation. Customer onboarding, order fulfillment, quality control, and customer service are usually good starting points. These are the processes where consistency matters most and where variation can be most costly. For each process, create what I call a process map. This is a step-by-step documentation of exactly how the process should be executed from start to finish. Include decision points, quality checkpoints, and handoff procedures. Specify who is responsible for each step and what the expected outcome should be. The goal isn't to create a perfect document on the first try. The goal is to create a starting point that can be improved over time. Document what you're currently doing, then refine it based on results and feedback. Systems are living documents that evolve as your business evolves. The video revolution. Written procedures are valuable, but video documentation is transformational. When you record yourself or your team executing a process, you capture nuances that written instructions often miss. You show the rhythm, the timing, the subtle techniques that make the difference between adequate and excellent execution. Video documentation also makes training dramatically more effective. New team members can watch the process being executed correctly rather than trying to interpret written instructions. They can see the quality standards in action rather than guessing what good looks like. Create a video library for your most important processes. Keep the videos short and focused, usually 5 to 10 minutes per process. Update them whenever you improve the underlying process. Make them easily accessible to anyone who needs to execute the process. This video library becomes one of your most valuable business assets. It's your institutional knowledge captured in a format that can be shared, studied, and replicated. It's your competitive advantage documented in a way that ensures it won't be lost when people leave or forgotten when you're not around. The one-page principle. The enemy of system adoption is complexity. If your documented processes are long, complicated, or difficult to follow, people won't use them. They'll create their own shortcuts, make their own interpretations, and gradually drift away from your intended standards. This is why the most effective systems follow the one-page principle. Each process should be documented on a single page that includes the essential information and nothing more. The format should be consistent across all processes to make them easy to scan and follow. A good one-page system document includes 5 elements: a clear headline that identifies the process, a brief statement of purpose that explains why the process matters, the essential steps in logical order, identification of who owns the process, and the key metric that indicates successful completion. This format forces you to focus on what's truly essential. If you can't fit a process on one page, it's probably too complex and should be broken into smaller sub-processes. If you can't clearly state the purpose, you probably don't need the process at all. The one-page format also makes systems more likely to be followed. People can quickly reference the document when they need it. They can easily check their work against the standard. They can confidently execute the process without getting lost in unnecessary detail. The continuous improvement engine. Systems aren't static documents that you create once and forget. They're living tools that should be continuously refined and improved. The best systems include feedback mechanisms that capture lessons learned and opportunities for optimization. Implement what the Japanese call kaizen, continuous improvement through small, incremental changes. Schedule quarterly reviews of your key systems to identify what's working well and what could be improved. Gather feedback from the people who actually execute the processes. Look for bottlenecks, redundancies, and opportunities to eliminate waste. During these reviews, ask 3 questions about each system. What can we eliminate? What can we simplify? What can we improve? Often, the most powerful improvements come from removing unnecessary steps rather than adding new ones. Track the performance of your systems over time. Measure quality, efficiency, and customer satisfaction for each documented process. Look for trends and patterns that indicate where your systems are working well and where they need attention. This continuous improvement approach ensures that your systems evolve with your business. As you learn more about your customers, your market, and your operations, your systems should reflect that increased knowledge. The goal is to create systems that get better over time, not documents that become obsolete. The delegation liberation. One of the most powerful benefits of documented systems is that they enable effective delegation. When your processes are clearly documented, you can confidently assign them to other people without worrying about quality or consistency. This is where many entrepreneurs get stuck. They want to delegate, but they're afraid that others won't execute tasks as well as they would. This fear is often justified when processes exist only in the founder's head. But when processes are clearly documented and include quality standards, delegation becomes much safer and more effective. Start by delegating your most systematic processes, the ones that are clearly documented and have objective quality measures. As your team demonstrates competence with these processes, you can gradually delegate more complex and subjective tasks. The key is to delegate the process, not just the task. Don't just tell someone what to do. Give them the system that shows them how to do it well. Don't just assign responsibility. Provide the tools and standards that enable success. This approach to delegation creates a virtuous cycle. As you delegate more processes, you free up time to work on higher value activities. As your team becomes more competent at executing systems, you can create more sophisticated systems. As your systems become more comprehensive, your business becomes less dependent on any individual person. The scalability secret. Systems are the secret to scalability. When your business processes are documented and optimized, you can handle increased volume without proportionally increasing effort or stress. Your systems can be executed by more people in more locations, serving more customers. This scalability has profound implications for your wealth-building potential. A business that can only grow by adding your personal hours has limited upside. A business that can grow by replicating proven systems has unlimited upside. Consider the difference between a consultant who sells their personal time and a consultant who has systematized their methodology into a training program. The first consultant is limited by the number of hours they can work. The second consultant can serve unlimited customers through their systematized approach. The systematized consultant has created something that can be scaled, licensed, franchised, or sold. They've transformed their personal knowledge into a business asset. They've built something that generates value independently of their ongoing involvement. This is the ultimate goal of systems thinking, creating business assets that work without you. When your processes are documented, optimized, and proven, they become valuable in their own right. They become something that others will pay to access, license, or acquire. The valuation multiplier. When it comes time to sell your business, buyers aren't just purchasing your customer list or your revenue stream. They're purchasing your systems. They're buying the documented processes that enable them to continue operating the business successfully without you. Businesses with well-documented systems sell for significantly higher multiples than businesses that depend on the founder's personal involvement. Buyers pay premium prices for predictability, and systems create predictability. A business that runs on the founder's intuition and personal relationships is risky for a buyer. They have no guarantee that they can replicate the founder's results. They're essentially buying a job, not a business. But a business that runs on documented, proven systems is much less risky. The buyer can see exactly how results are achieved. They can evaluate the effectiveness of the processes. They can confidently predict future performance based on historical system performance. This difference in buyer confidence translates directly into valuation differences. Systematic businesses often sell for 3 to 5 times the multiple of personality-dependent businesses. The investment in creating systems pays for itself many times over when it's time to exit. Even if you never plan to sell your business, thinking like a potential buyer forces you to build more systematically. It encourages you to create processes that work without you. It pushes you to document knowledge that might otherwise be lost. The implementation imperative. The gap between understanding systems and implementing them is where most entrepreneurs get stuck. They recognize the value of documentation and process optimization, but they struggle to find the time to actually create systems while running their businesses. This is a classic chicken and egg problem. You need systems to free up time, but you need time to create systems. The solution is to start small and build momentum gradually. Choose one process that you execute frequently and that has a significant impact on your business results. Spend 1 hour documenting that process as clearly as possible. Test the documentation by having someone else follow it. Refine it based on their feedback and results. Once you have one solid system documented, the next one becomes easier. You've established the format, the discipline, and the habit. You've proven to yourself that the investment is worthwhile. You've created momentum that makes continued system building feel natural rather than forced. The key is consistency rather than perfection. It's better to document one process per week for a year than to try to document everything at once and burn out after a month. Systems building is a marathon, not a sprint. The resistance patterns. As you begin building systems, you'll encounter predictable forms of resistance, both from yourself and from your team. Understanding these patterns helps you navigate them more effectively. The first resistance pattern is perfectionism. You'll be tempted to create the perfect system before documenting anything. This perfectionism is really procrastination in disguise. It keeps you from starting because you're waiting for ideal conditions that will never arrive. The antidote to perfectionism is iteration. Document what you're currently doing, even if it's not optimal. Use the documentation process to identify improvements. Refine the system over time based on real-world results. Perfect systems are built through iteration, not inspiration. The second resistance pattern is the special case syndrome. Your team will argue that their situation is unique and doesn't fit the standard process. They'll want exceptions for their particular customers, circumstances, or preferences. While some situations truly are exceptional, most special cases are really resistance to change. The antidote is to build flexibility into your systems while maintaining core standards. Allow for variation in execution while preserving consistency in outcomes. The third resistance pattern is system abandonment. People will follow your documented processes initially, but gradually drift back to their old ways of doing things. This happens when systems aren't regularly reinforced and updated. The antidote to abandonment is accountability and continuous improvement. Regularly check that systems are being followed. Gather feedback about what's working and what isn't. Update systems based on new learning. Make system adherence part of performance evaluation. The freedom formula. When systems are working properly, something remarkable happens to your relationship with your business. Instead of feeling trapped by endless operational demands, you feel liberated to focus on strategy and growth. Instead of being the person who does everything, you become the person who ensures everything gets done well. This transformation is profound because it changes your role from operator to architect. You're no longer working in your business, you're working on your business. You're not solving the same problems over and over. You're creating systems that prevent problems from recurring. The ultimate goal of systems building isn't efficiency for its own sake. It's freedom. Freedom to focus on what you do best. Freedom to pursue new opportunities. Freedom to step away from your business without everything falling apart. When your business runs on systems instead of heroics, you've created something truly valuable, a machine that generates wealth while you focus on higher-level strategy. You've built the foundation for sustainable growth, profitable scaling, and eventual exit. But even the most sophisticated systems are only as good as the income streams they support. Once your processes are running predictably, the next challenge becomes ensuring you're not dependent on a single source of revenue, and that requires a level of strategic diversification that most entrepreneurs never consider, a discipline that transforms reliable systems into unshakable wealth. Chapter 5. Diversify income. Picture two entrepreneurs, both earning $10,000 per month from their businesses. On paper, they look identical. Same revenue, same profit margins, same apparent success. But beneath the surface, their financial futures couldn't be more different. The first entrepreneur has built what most people would consider a successful business. All $10,000 comes from a single source, consulting services that require his direct involvement. He's proud of his expertise, confident in his ability to deliver results, and comfortable with the predictable income stream that flows from his personal efforts. The second entrepreneur also earns $10,000 per month, but her income tells a different story. $3,000 comes from an online course that sells while she sleeps. $2,500 flows from dividend-paying stocks she's accumulated over 3 years. $2,000 arrives from rental income on a small property she purchased and systematized. $1,500 comes from affiliate commissions on products she genuinely uses and recommends. The remaining $1,000 comes from a small consulting practice that she genuinely enjoys. Both entrepreneurs are making the same amount of money today, but 6 months from now, when a recession hits their industry, their stories will diverge dramatically. The first entrepreneur will watch his income evaporate overnight. Clients will cut consulting budgets, projects will be canceled, his single income stream will slow to a trickle, and he'll be forced to scramble for survival in a hostile market. The second entrepreneur will barely notice the downturn. Her course sales might dip slightly, but her dividends will continue flowing. Her rental income will remain stable. Her affiliate commissions might even increase as people look for cost-effective solutions. She'll weather the storm not because she's smarter or luckier, but because she's built something far more powerful than a business. She's built an income ecosystem, the single point of failure trap. Most entrepreneurs are walking tightropes without safety nets. They've built businesses that depend entirely on a single income source, a single customer segment, a single market condition, or a single economic environment. They've created what engineers call a single point of failure, a system where one broken component can bring down the entire operation. This isn't just risky, it's financially suicidal in today's volatile economy. Markets shift overnight, industries get disrupted by technology, consumer preferences change without warning, economic conditions fluctuate unpredictably, regulations alter competitive landscapes, global events reshape entire sectors. When your income depends on a single source, you're betting your financial future on the assumption that nothing will change. You're gambling that your industry will remain stable, your customers will remain loyal, your competitive advantages will remain intact, and your personal ability to deliver will remain consistent. This is a bet you cannot win long term. Change is the only constant in business, and single-source income streams are sitting ducks for disruption. But there's a deeper problem with single-source income that goes beyond risk management. When all your eggs are in one basket, you're also limiting your upside potential. You're capping your growth at the maximum capacity of a single income engine. You're constraining your wealth-building potential to the boundaries of a single market opportunity. The entrepreneurs who build lasting wealth understand something that most people miss. True financial security doesn't come from making one income source bigger. It comes from making multiple income sources work together. The ecosystem advantage. Nature provides the perfect metaphor for sustainable income generation. Healthy ecosystems don't depend on a single species for survival. They're built on interconnected networks where multiple organisms support each other, creating resilience that no single component could achieve alone. When one species faces challenges, others can compensate. When environmental conditions change, the ecosystem adapts through its diversity. When external threats emerge, the system's redundancy provides protection. The whole becomes greater than the sum of its parts. Your income should work the same way. Instead of building a single revenue stream, you should be building an income ecosystem, multiple streams that support, reinforce, and protect each other. When one stream faces headwinds, others provide stability. When market conditions favor certain types of income, your diversified portfolio can capitalize on the opportunity. But here's where most people get diversification wrong. They think it's about spreading their efforts across completely unrelated activities. They try to build a consulting business, start a restaurant, invest in cryptocurrency, and launch a clothing line all at the same time. This isn't diversification, it's distraction. True income diversification is about creating multiple streams that leverage your existing skills, knowledge, and resources while responding differently to market conditions. It's about building an ecosystem where each component strengthens the others rather than competing for your attention. The Branson Blueprint. Richard Branson didn't build Virgin by accident. He didn't stumble into a multi-billion-dollar empire by randomly starting businesses in different industries. He built Virgin by understanding something profound about income diversification, the power of strategic cross-pollination. Branson started with Virgin Records, a mail-order record business that he launched from the basement of a church. But instead of trying to make Virgin Records bigger and bigger, he used the cash flow and customer relationships from that business to launch Virgin Atlantic Airways. Then he used the brand recognition and operational expertise from the airline to launch Virgin Mobile. Each new venture leveraged assets from the previous ones while serving different market needs. This approach created multiple advantages. First, each business reduced the risk of the overall portfolio. When the music industry faced disruption, Virgin's airline and mobile businesses provided stability. When airline profits were squeezed by fuel costs, other divisions compensated. The diversification protected the empire from single industry downturns. Second, the businesses reinforced each other through shared resources and cross-promotion. Virgin's airline customers became prospects for Virgin Mobile. Virgin Mobile customers were exposed to Virgin's other services. The brand became stronger because it was supported by multiple touchpoints rather than a single business. Third, Each business provided learning and capabilities that enhanced the others. The customer service expertise developed in the airline business improved the mobile business. The marketing innovations from the record business enhanced the airline's brand building. Knowledge and capabilities compounded across the portfolio. Today, Virgin operates in dozens of industries: airlines, mobile communications, health clubs, space travel, financial services, and more. Branson has created an income ecosystem that generates wealth from multiple sources while sharing resources, capabilities, and brand equity across the portfolio. The key insight from Branson's approach is that effective diversification isn't about spreading yourself thin across unrelated activities. It's about creating synergistic income streams that leverage your core strengths while responding differently to market conditions. The diversification myths that keep you poor. Before you can build an effective income portfolio, you need to destroy the myths that keep most entrepreneurs trapped in single-stream thinking. The first myth is that one home run beats many singles. This belief keeps entrepreneurs focused on finding the one big opportunity that will solve all their financial problems. They chase the million-dollar idea, the breakthrough product, the game-changing innovation that will make them rich overnight. This home run mentality is seductive because it feels heroic and dramatic. It appeals to our desire for simple solutions and instant gratification. It promises that all your financial problems can be solved with one brilliant insight or one perfect execution. But the home run approach is statistically flawed. Most overnight successes actually took years to develop. Most breakthrough innovations built on previous work and existing assets. Most million-dollar ideas succeeded because they were part of larger portfolios that provided stability and resources during development. The entrepreneurs who build lasting wealth understand that consistent singles compound into more runs than occasional home runs. They focus on building multiple income streams that generate steady returns rather than betting everything on one spectacular opportunity. The second myth is that diversification dilutes focus. This belief suggests that spreading your efforts across multiple income streams will prevent you from achieving excellence in any single area. It argues that you should do one thing and do it well, rather than pursuing multiple opportunities. This myth contains a grain of truth. Unfocused diversification can indeed dilute effectiveness. But strategic diversification actually enhances focus by creating stability that allows you to take calculated risks and pursue long-term opportunities. When you have multiple income streams providing baseline financial security, you can afford to invest time and resources in experimental projects. You can pursue innovative opportunities without risking your survival. You can focus on long-term value creation rather than short-term cash generation. The third myth is that passive income streams require massive upfront investments. This belief keeps people from starting because they think they need significant capital to create meaningful passive income. They assume that real estate requires huge down payments, that dividend investing requires large portfolios, that digital products require expensive development. While some passive income streams do require capital, many can be started with minimal investment. Digital products can be created with time and knowledge rather than money. Affiliate marketing requires no upfront capital. Content creation can generate royalties with nothing but effort and creativity. The key is to start with income streams that match your current resources and gradually build toward more capital-intensive opportunities as your wealth grows. The portfolio construction strategy. Building an effective income portfolio requires the same strategic thinking that professional investors use to construct investment portfolios. You need to balance risk and return, ensure adequate diversification, and create synergies between different components. Start by categorizing potential income streams into 3 buckets based on their risk and return characteristics. Conservative streams provide steady, predictable income with low risk but modest returns. Examples include dividend-paying stocks, bonds, and established rental properties. These streams form the foundation of your portfolio, providing stability and baseline income. Growth streams offer higher potential returns, but with increased risk and volatility. Examples include growth stocks, emerging market investments, and scalable digital businesses. These streams provide the upside potential that can accelerate your wealth building, but they shouldn't represent the majority of your portfolio until you have adequate conservative income to cover your basic needs. Speculative streams offer the highest potential returns, but also the highest risk of loss. Examples include cryptocurrency, startup investments, and experimental business ventures. These streams should represent a small percentage of your overall portfolio, enough to capture significant upside if they succeed, but not enough to threaten your financial security if they fail. The exact allocation between these categories depends on your risk tolerance, time horizon, and current financial situation. Younger entrepreneurs with longer time horizons can afford higher allocations to growth and speculative streams. More established entrepreneurs approaching retirement should emphasize conservative streams that provide predictable income. But regardless of your specific allocation, the key principle remains the same. Your income portfolio should include streams from multiple categories that respond differently to changing market conditions. The sequential launch strategy. One of the biggest mistakes entrepreneurs make when diversifying income is trying to launch multiple streams simultaneously. They spread their attention across too many projects, execute none of them well, and end up with multiple mediocre income streams instead of several strong ones. The sequential launch strategy solves this problem by focusing your efforts on one income stream at a time while building toward a diversified portfolio over time. You launch one stream, optimize it until it's generating consistent income with minimal ongoing effort, then launch the next stream. This approach provides several advantages. First, it allows you to focus your full attention on each new income stream during its critical launch phase. You can give each project the time and energy it needs to succeed, rather than spreading yourself too thin across multiple initiatives. Second, it creates momentum and confidence as you successfully launch each new stream. Each success builds your skills and resources for the next launch. Each income stream provides financial stability that makes it easier to invest in the next opportunity. Third, it allows you to learn from each launch and apply those lessons to subsequent projects. You develop systems and processes that make each new launch faster and more effective than the previous one. The key is to resist the temptation to start multiple projects simultaneously, even when you see attractive opportunities. Discipline yourself to complete one launch before starting the next. This patience will result in a stronger, more sustainable income portfolio over time. The content multiplication effect. One of the most powerful strategies for efficient income diversification is content multiplication, creating core content once and then adapting it for multiple income streams. This approach allows you to build several revenue sources without proportionally increasing your content creation effort. Start with a comprehensive piece of content that demonstrates your expertise in a specific area. This might be an in-depth course, a detailed guide, or a series of case studies. This core content becomes the foundation for multiple income streams. Transform this core content into different formats and delivery mechanisms. The course can become a book. The book can become a series of blog posts. The blog posts can become social media content. The social media content can drive affiliate sales. Each format creates a different income opportunity while leveraging the same underlying content. This multiplication effect dramatically improves the return on your content creation investment. Instead of creating unique content for each income stream, you're creating one piece of content that feeds multiple streams. This efficiency allows you to build a diversified income portfolio without overwhelming yourself with content creation demands. The key is to think strategically about content formats and distribution channels when you're creating your core content. Design your original content so it can be easily adapted for multiple purposes rather than trying to retrofit existing content for new income streams. The automation integration. As you build multiple income streams, automation becomes even more critical than it was for single-stream businesses. Managing multiple revenue sources manually would quickly become overwhelming and defeat the purpose of diversification. Each income stream should be designed with automation in mind from the beginning. Digital products should sell through automated funnels. Investment accounts should use automatic contributions and reinvestment. Rental properties should use property management services. Affiliate marketing should use automated tracking and commission systems. But automation becomes even more powerful when you integrate it across multiple income streams. Customer data from one stream can trigger marketing for another stream. Revenue from one source can automatically fund investments in another source. Content creation for one stream can automatically populate another stream. This integration creates synergies that make your income portfolio more than the sum of its parts. Each stream becomes more effective because it's supported by the others. The whole system becomes more efficient because shared resources and automation reduce the overhead of managing multiple streams. The goal is to create an income ecosystem that runs largely on autopilot, requiring only strategic oversight and periodic optimization rather than daily management. The risk correlation matrix. Not all diversification is created equal. The most important principle in building an income portfolio is ensuring that your streams respond differently to changing market conditions. If all your income sources decline simultaneously during economic downturns, you haven't achieved meaningful diversification. This is where understanding correlation becomes crucial. Correlation measures how closely two investments move together. Perfectly correlated assets move up and down together. Uncorrelated assets move independently. Negatively correlated assets move in opposite directions. Effective income diversification requires building a portfolio of streams with low or negative correlations. When one stream faces headwinds, others should remain stable or even benefit from the same conditions that are hurting the first stream. For example, during economic recessions, luxury consulting services typically decline, while discount retail services often increase. During periods of inflation, real estate values typically rise while bond values decline. During technological disruptions, traditional businesses suffer while technology-enabled businesses thrive. Analyze each potential income stream to understand how it responds to different economic conditions, market cycles, and external events. Build your portfolio to include streams that respond differently to these conditions. This approach ensures that your overall income remains stable even when individual streams face challenges. The monitoring dashboard. Managing multiple income streams requires a different approach to financial oversight than managing a single business. You need systems that allow you to monitor the performance of your entire portfolio without getting lost in the details of individual streams. Create a simple dashboard that tracks the key metrics for each income stream on a weekly or monthly basis. Include revenue, growth rate, and any leading indicators that predict future performance. Keep the dashboard simple and focused on the metrics that actually matter for decision-making. Schedule regular portfolio reviews to analyze the performance of your income ecosystem as a whole. Look for trends, correlations, and opportunities for optimization. Identify streams that are underperforming and need attention. Spot opportunities to reallocate resources from mature streams to growth opportunities. The goal isn't to micromanage each individual stream, but to maintain strategic oversight of your overall income portfolio. You want to catch problems early, capitalize on opportunities quickly, and ensure that your diversification strategy is working as intended. This monitoring discipline becomes even more important as your portfolio grows and becomes more complex. The dashboard and review process prevent you from losing track of individual streams while maintaining focus on your overall wealth-building strategy. The compounding convergence. When income diversification is working properly, something magical happens. Your streams begin to reinforce and accelerate each other. Revenue from one stream funds the development of another stream. Customers from one stream become customers of another stream. skills developed in one stream enhance the performance of other streams. This convergence effect creates exponential rather than linear growth in your income portfolio. Instead of simply adding new streams to your existing income, you're creating a system where each stream makes the others more valuable and effective. The key to achieving this convergence is strategic patience. It takes time for the synergies to develop and compound. It requires consistent execution across multiple streams rather than sporadic attention to individual opportunities. It demands that you think systemically about your income portfolio rather than tactically about individual streams. But when convergence occurs, your income portfolio becomes a wealth-generating machine that produces results far beyond what any individual stream could achieve. You've created something that's greater than the sum of its parts, an income ecosystem that compounds wealth while providing security and flexibility. This transformation from multiple income streams to an integrated wealth system represents a fundamental shift in your relationship with money. You're no longer dependent on your personal efforts to generate income. You're no longer vulnerable to single points of failure. You've built something that works for you rather than requiring you to work for it. But even the most diversified income portfolio can stagnate if you're not strategically reinvesting the profits it generates. The next challenge isn't just earning money from multiple sources. It's deploying that money in ways that accelerate your journey to complete financial independence. And that requires a level of strategic capital allocation that most entrepreneurs never master. Chapter 6, Reinvest Profits. There's a moment that separates those who build modest wealth from those who build generational fortunes. It happens when your income streams start producing surplus cash, and you face a choice that will determine your financial destiny. Most people celebrate this moment by upgrading their lifestyle. They buy the nicer car, move to the bigger house, take the expensive vacation. They've worked hard, they've earned success, and they want to enjoy the fruits of their labor. This feels natural, logical, even deserved. But there's another path, a path that requires you to resist the immediate gratification and instead make a decision that feels almost counterintuitive. You take that surplus cash and you put it back to work. What I'm about to share with you is the secret that transforms good entrepreneurs into wealthy entrepreneurs, successful businesses into financial empires, and comfortable incomes into generational wealth. It's the difference between earning money and multiplying money, between working for wealth and having wealth work for you. It's the power of strategic reinvestment, and it's the closest thing to magic that exists in the world of finance. The compound interest revelation. Albert Einstein allegedly called compound interest the eighth wonder of the world, adding that he who understands it earns it. He who doesn't, pays it. Whether Einstein actually said this or not, the sentiment captures a profound truth about wealth building that most people never grasp. Compound interest isn't just about money earning interest. It's about returns earning returns. It's about your money hiring more money, which hires even more money, creating an exponential snowball effect that accelerates over time. But here's what most people miss. Compound interest only works if you reinvest your returns. If you withdraw your profits and spend them on lifestyle upgrades, you break the compounding cycle. You turn exponential growth into linear growth. You transform wealth multiplication into simple income generation. Consider two entrepreneurs who each build businesses that generate $50,000 in annual profit. The first entrepreneur withdraws all the profits each year to fund a comfortable lifestyle. After 10 years, he's enjoyed $500,000 in lifestyle benefits but has no accumulated wealth beyond his original business. The second entrepreneur withdraws only $30,000 annually for living expenses and reinvests the remaining $20,000 at a 10% annual return. After 10 years, she's not only enjoyed $300,000 in lifestyle benefits, but has also accumulated over $318,000 in investment assets. More importantly, her investment portfolio is now generating over $31,000 annually in passive income, more than she was reinvesting in the early years. The difference between these two approaches compounds dramatically over time. After 20 years, the first entrepreneur has consumed $1 million in lifestyle benefits, but still has no wealth beyond his business. The second entrepreneur has consumed $600,000 in lifestyle benefits, but has accumulated over $1.1 million in investment assets that are generating over $110,000 annually in passive income. This is the power of reinvestment. It transforms temporary income into permanent wealth. The Musk multiplication method. Elon Musk understands reinvestment better than almost anyone alive. When he sold PayPal to eBay in 2002, he received $165 million from the transaction. Most people would have considered this a life-changing windfall and settled into comfortable retirement. Instead, Musk did something that seemed almost reckless. He reinvested virtually all of his PayPal proceeds into new ventures. He put $100 million into SpaceX, $70 million into Tesla, and $10 million into SolarCity. He kept only enough cash to cover his basic living expenses. This decision looked foolish to many observers. Musk was betting his entire fortune on unproven technologies in industries dominated by established giants. He was risking financial ruin to pursue ventures that most experts considered impossible. But Musk understood something that his critics missed. The biggest risk wasn't losing his money, it was failing to multiply it. He recognized that $165 million sitting in safe investments would generate comfortable returns, but would never create the kind of wealth needed to fund his ambitious vision of transforming multiple industries. The reinvestment strategy worked spectacularly. Tesla is now worth over $800 billion, making Musk's stake worth tens of billions. SpaceX is valued at over $140 billion, with Musk owning approximately 50% of the company. His reinvestment of $170 million has generated wealth exceeding $200 billion. This isn't just a story about getting lucky with risky investments. It's a story about understanding the mathematics of wealth multiplication. Musk recognized that reinvestment is the only way to transform significant wealth into extraordinary wealth. He understood that compound growth requires feeding the machine rather than withdrawing from it. The key insight from Musk's approach is that reinvestment isn't just about preserving wealth. It's about accelerating wealth creation through exponential rather than linear growth. The lifestyle inflation trap. The biggest enemy of reinvestment isn't market volatility or investment risk, it's lifestyle inflation. As your income grows, your expenses tend to grow with it. The nicer apartment becomes the bigger house. The reliable car becomes the luxury vehicle. The occasional dinner out becomes regular fine dining. This lifestyle inflation feels natural and justified. You're working harder, earning more, and achieving success. Why shouldn't you enjoy the benefits? Why shouldn't your lifestyle reflect your accomplishments? The problem with lifestyle inflation is that it's a one-way ratchet. Once you upgrade your lifestyle, it becomes very difficult to downgrade. The bigger house comes with higher mortgage payments, property taxes, and maintenance costs. The luxury car comes with higher insurance, maintenance, and depreciation. The expensive habits become expected rather than special. More insidiously, lifestyle inflation consumes the surplus cash that could be reinvested for wealth multiplication. Every dollar spent on lifestyle upgrades is a dollar that can't be deployed to generate future returns. Every permanent increase in expenses is a permanent reduction in reinvestment capacity. The entrepreneurs who build lasting wealth learn to resist lifestyle inflation during their wealth-building years. They maintain modest lifestyles relative to their income, not because they're cheap or don't value quality of life, but because they understand the opportunity cost of consumption. This doesn't mean living like a monk or never enjoying your success. It means being intentional about lifestyle choices and understanding the true cost of every upgrade. It means asking whether each expenditure brings you closer to or further from your long-term wealth goals. The key is to set a lifestyle budget that allows you to enjoy your success while preserving maximum reinvestment capacity. As your wealth grows through reinvestment, you can gradually increase your lifestyle spending without compromising your wealth-building trajectory. The automatic wealth machine. The most effective reinvestment strategies don't rely on willpower or discipline. They rely on automation. When reinvestment happens automatically, you remove the emotional and psychological barriers that prevent consistent wealth building. The first step is to calculate your true reinvestment capacity. This isn't just your business profits, it's your total income minus your essential expenses and desired lifestyle spending. This surplus represents your wealth-building fuel, and every dollar of it should be automatically deployed for maximum growth. Set up automatic transfers that move your reinvestment funds out of your checking account immediately when income arrives. Don't give yourself the opportunity to spend this money on impulse purchases or lifestyle upgrades. Make reinvestment the default rather than the exception. The timing of these transfers matters more than most people realize. If you wait until the end of the month to reinvest whatever is left over, there usually isn't anything left over. Expenses expand to fill available cash, and reinvestment becomes an afterthought. Instead, treat reinvestment like a non-negotiable expense that gets paid first. When income arrives, automatically transfer your predetermined reinvestment amount before you pay any discretionary expenses. This pay-yourself-first approach ensures that wealth building happens regardless of other financial pressures. The automation should extend beyond just moving money. It should include the actual investment decisions. Set up automatic contributions to diversified investment accounts, automatic reinvestment of dividends and capital gains, and automatic rebalancing to maintain your target asset allocation. This automation creates a wealth-building machine that operates independently of your daily decisions and emotions. It removes the friction that prevents consistent reinvestment and ensures that compound growth happens whether you're paying attention or not. The asset allocation algorithm. Not all reinvestment opportunities are created equal. The key to maximizing your wealth multiplication is deploying your surplus cash into the highest return opportunities available while maintaining appropriate risk management. This requires a systematic approach to asset allocation that balances growth potential with risk tolerance. Your reinvestment strategy should include a mix of asset classes that provide different risk-return profiles and respond differently to changing market conditions. Growth assets should form the foundation of your reinvestment strategy during your wealth-building years. These include stock market investments, real estate, and business expansion opportunities that offer higher potential returns but also higher volatility. The exact allocation depends on your age, risk tolerance, and time horizon, but growth assets should typically represent the majority of your reinvestment during your peak earning years. Income-producing assets provide stability and cash flow that can support your lifestyle or be reinvested for further growth. These include dividend-paying stocks, bonds, REITs, and rental properties. While these assets typically offer lower growth potential than pure growth investments, they provide predictable returns that can reduce overall portfolio volatility. Alternative investments can provide diversification and potentially higher returns, but typically require more expertise and involve higher risk. These might include private equity, hedge funds, commodity investments, or angel investing in startups. Alternative investments should generally represent a smaller portion of your portfolio unless you have specific expertise in these areas. The key is to maintain a strategic allocation that maximizes expected returns while staying within your risk tolerance. This allocation should be reviewed and rebalanced regularly as your wealth grows and your circumstances change. The Dividend Reinvestment Accelerator. One of the most powerful but underutilized reinvestment strategies is dividend reinvestment. When you own dividend-paying stocks, you face a choice every quarter. Take the dividend payments as cash or reinvest them to purchase additional shares. Most investors take the cash, either because they need it for expenses or because they want the psychological satisfaction of receiving income from their investments. This approach treats dividends like salary payments rather than wealth-building opportunities. But automatic dividend reinvestment creates a powerful compounding effect that dramatically accelerates wealth accumulation. Instead of receiving cash that might be spent or sit idle, the dividends immediately purchase additional shares that will generate even more dividends in the future. This creates a snowball effect where your dividend income grows exponentially rather than linearly. Each reinvested dividend increases your share count, which increases your future dividend payments, which increases your future share purchases, which increases your future dividend payments even more. The mathematics of dividend reinvestment are compelling. A $10,000 investment in a stock paying a 4% dividend yield will generate $400 in annual dividends. If you take these dividends as cash, you'll receive $400 every year, regardless of how long you hold the stock. But if you reinvest the dividends, the compound effect becomes dramatic over time. After 10 years of dividend reinvestment, your original $10,000 investment will have grown to approximately $14,800, and your annual dividend income will have increased to about $590. After 20 years, your investment will be worth about $22,000, generating over $880 annually in dividends. This acceleration happens because you're not just earning returns on your original investment, you're earning returns on all the reinvested dividends as well. The effect becomes more pronounced over longer time periods and with higher dividend yields. The rebalancing ritual. Successful reinvestment requires more than just automatically deploying surplus cash. It requires strategic rebalancing to maintain optimal asset allocation and capitalize on market opportunities. As different assets perform differently over time, your portfolio allocation will drift away from your target percentages. Growth stocks might outperform and become a larger percentage of your portfolio than intended. Real estate values might decline and represent a smaller allocation than desired. Without rebalancing, your portfolio can become unintentionally concentrated in assets that have performed well recently. Rebalancing involves periodically selling assets that have become overweighted and buying assets that have become underweighted to restore your target allocation. This disciplined approach forces you to sell high and buy low, which is exactly the opposite of what most investors do emotionally. The rebalancing process also provides opportunities to deploy new reinvestment funds strategically. Instead of automatically investing in the same assets every month, you can direct new investments toward underweighted asset classes to restore balance while adding new capital. Schedule quarterly rebalancing reviews to assess your portfolio allocation and make necessary adjustments. During these reviews, analyze the performance of different asset classes, evaluate new investment opportunities, and adjust your allocation based on changing circumstances or market conditions. This systematic approach to rebalancing ensures that your reinvestment strategy remains aligned with your long-term wealth-building goals rather than being driven by short-term market movements or emotional reactions. The tax optimization strategy. Reinvestment becomes significantly more powerful when you minimize the tax drag on your returns. Taxes can consume a substantial portion of your investment gains, reducing the amount available for reinvestment and slowing your wealth accumulation. The first principle of tax-optimized reinvestment is to maximize the use of tax-advantaged accounts. Retirement accounts, health savings accounts, and other tax-sheltered vehicles allow your investments to grow without annual tax consequences, dramatically improving long-term returns. Within taxable accounts, focus on tax-efficient investments that minimize annual tax consequences. Index funds and ETFs typically generate fewer taxable distributions than actively managed mutual funds. Growth stocks that don't pay dividends allow you to defer taxes until you sell. Municipal bonds provide tax-free income for investors in higher tax brackets. The timing of investment transactions also affects tax efficiency. Hold investments for more than 1 year to qualify for lower long-term capital gains rates. Harvest tax losses by selling underperforming investments to offset gains from successful investments. Consider the tax implications of rebalancing decisions and time transactions to minimize tax consequences. Tax optimization becomes even more important as your wealth grows and you move into higher tax brackets. The difference between tax-efficient and tax-inefficient investing can amount to hundreds of thousands of dollars over a lifetime of wealth building. Work with qualified tax professionals to develop strategies that minimize your tax burden while maximizing your reinvestment capacity. The cost of professional tax advice is typically far less than the taxes saved through proper planning. The monitoring and adjustment protocol. Effective reinvestment requires ongoing monitoring and periodic adjustments to ensure your strategy remains aligned with your goals and market conditions. This doesn't mean constantly tinkering with your investments, but it does mean maintaining strategic oversight of your wealth-building progress. Establish key performance indicators that track the effectiveness of your reinvestment strategy. These might include your overall return on investment, the growth rate of your net worth, the percentage of income being reinvested, and the diversification of your asset allocation. Review these metrics monthly to ensure your reinvestment strategy is working as intended. Look for trends that might indicate the need for adjustments. Identify opportunities to improve your returns or reduce your risks. Annual reviews should be more comprehensive, evaluating your overall financial situation and adjusting your reinvestment strategy based on changing circumstances. Your risk tolerance might change as you age. Your income might increase, allowing for higher reinvestment rates. Your goals might evolve, requiring different asset allocations. The key is to maintain strategic discipline while remaining flexible enough to adapt to changing conditions. Your reinvestment strategy should be systematic and consistent, but not rigid and inflexible. The exponential escape velocity. When reinvestment is working properly, you'll eventually reach what I call exponential escape velocity, the point where your investment returns exceed your living expenses. This is when your wealth starts growing faster than you can spend it, even if you wanted to. This milestone represents true financial freedom because it means you're no longer dependent on earned income to maintain your lifestyle. Your investments are generating enough returns to cover your expenses, and the surplus can be reinvested to accelerate wealth growth even further. The timeline to reach escape velocity depends on your reinvestment rate, your investment returns, and your lifestyle expenses. Higher reinvestment rates and higher returns accelerate the timeline. Lower expenses reduce the target that your investments need to reach. Most people underestimate how quickly escape velocity can be achieved with disciplined reinvestment. A 25% savings rate with 8% investment returns can achieve financial independence in approximately 32 years. A 50% savings rate can reduce this timeline to about 17 years. A 75% savings rate can achieve escape velocity in just 7 years. These timelines assume starting from zero, but most entrepreneurs have advantages that can accelerate the process. Higher incomes allow for higher absolute reinvestment amounts. Business ownership provides additional wealth-building opportunities. Existing assets provide a head start on the accumulation process. The key insight is that escape velocity is achievable for most people who commit to disciplined reinvestment over time. It's not a privilege reserved for the ultra-wealthy. It's a mathematical outcome that results from consistent application of compound growth principles. The legacy multiplication effect. The ultimate power of reinvestment extends beyond your own financial freedom. It creates generational wealth that can benefit your family and causes you care about for decades or centuries to come. When you build wealth through reinvestment rather than consumption, you create assets that can be passed to future generations. These assets continue compounding long after you're gone, creating a legacy that extends far beyond your own lifetime. This generational perspective changes how you think about reinvestment decisions. You're not just building wealth for your own financial freedom, you're creating a foundation that can support your children's education, your grandchildren's opportunities, and charitable causes that align with your values. The mathematics of generational wealth are staggering. A $1 million portfolio that grows at 8% annually will be worth over $21 million after 40 years. If that growth continues for another generation, it becomes over $460 million. The reinvestment decisions you make today can literally create hundreds of millions of dollars in wealth for future generations. This legacy perspective provides additional motivation for disciplined reinvestment during your wealth-building years. The lifestyle upgrades you forego today become generational opportunities for your descendants. The compound growth you enable today becomes transformational wealth for causes you care about. But building generational wealth requires more than just accumulating assets. It requires developing systems and structures that preserve and grow wealth across generations. This includes estate planning, family governance, and education to ensure that future generations understand and maintain the wealth-building principles that created their inheritance. The journey from reinvestment to generational wealth represents the ultimate expression of compound thinking. You're not just multiplying money, you're multiplying impact, opportunity, and legacy across time horizons that extend far beyond your own life. Yet, even the most sophisticated reinvestment strategy can be undermined if you're not making optimal use of your most precious resource. While your money compounds in the background, there's another form of leverage that can accelerate your wealth-building timeline even further, and it requires mastering something that most entrepreneurs never learn to value properly. Chapter 7, Time Leverage. You have exactly 168 hours this week. So does Jeff Bezos. So does Oprah Winfrey. So does every billionaire, every struggling entrepreneur, and every person reading this book. Time is the ultimate equalizer. It's the one resource that can't be manufactured, purchased, or borrowed. You can't save it for later, invest it for compound returns, or get a loan against future time. Every second that passes is gone forever, and every hour you spend on one activity is an hour you can't spend on another. Yet most entrepreneurs treat time like it's infinite. They fill their days with busy work, low-value activities, and tasks that anyone could do. They pride themselves on being hands-on and involved in everything. They mistake motion for progress and activity for achievement. Meanwhile, a small group of entrepreneurs has discovered something that transforms their relationship with time entirely. They've learned to think about time not as something to be spent, but as something to be leveraged. They've discovered that the secret to building wealth isn't working more hours, it's making each hour exponentially more valuable. What I'm about to share with you is the hidden multiplier that separates entrepreneurs who build jobs from those who build empires. It's the difference between being busy and being productive, between working hard and working smart, between trading time for money and using time to create wealth. The scarcity that changes everything. Most people think money is their scarcest resource. They worry about cash flow, profit margins, and investment capital. They spend countless hours trying to optimize their finances while completely ignoring their most limited asset. The truth is that time scarcity makes every other resource more valuable. You can always make more money, but you can never make more time. You can raise capital, but you can't raise hours. You can improve your profit margins, but you can't improve the number of minutes in a day. This scarcity creates a fundamental economic principle. The activities that generate the highest return per hour are exponentially more valuable than activities that generate lower returns. A task that creates $1,000 of value per hour is not just 10 times more valuable than a task that creates $100 per hour. It's infinitely more valuable because it frees up time that can be reinvested in other high-value activities. But here's where most entrepreneurs get it wrong. They focus on the absolute value of activities rather than the relative value per hour. They'll spend 3 hours to save $100 on software, not realizing that those 3 hours could have been used to generate $3,000 in new business. They'll handle their own bookkeeping to save $500 per month, not recognizing that the 10 hours this requires could be invested in activities worth $5,000. This backwards thinking keeps entrepreneurs trapped in low-value activities while their highest-value opportunities go unexplored. They become highly paid employees of their own businesses, trading their irreplaceable time for tasks that could be handled by others at a fraction of the cost. The entrepreneurs who break through this trap understand a fundamental principle. Your time should only be spent on activities that no one else can do as well as you can, or that generate exponentially higher returns than any alternative use of that time. The value hierarchy revolution. Not all hours are created equal. Some activities generate exponential returns, while others generate linear returns. Some tasks move your business forward, while others simply maintain the status quo. Some work creates lasting value, while other work creates temporary results. Understanding this hierarchy is crucial because it determines how you allocate your most precious resource. When you spend time on low-value activities, you're not just missing the opportunity to work on high-value activities, you're compounding the opportunity cost with every passing minute. At the bottom of the hierarchy are maintenance activities. These are tasks that keep your business running but don't move it forward. Checking email, updating spreadsheets, organizing files, and handling routine customer service inquiries fall into this category. These activities are necessary but create no lasting value. They're the business equivalent of treading water, lots of effort with no forward progress. In the middle of the hierarchy are growth activities. These tasks directly contribute to business expansion, but in predictable, linear ways. Sales calls, marketing campaigns, product development, and customer acquisition activities fall into this category. These activities create value, but the relationship between effort and outcome is relatively straightforward. At the top of the hierarchy are leverage activities. These are tasks that create exponential rather than linear returns. Strategic planning, system building, team development, and relationship building with key partners fall into this category. These activities don't just create immediate value, they create capabilities that generate value long into the future. The key insight is that leverage activities compound over time, while maintenance and growth activities don't. An hour spent building a system that automates customer onboarding creates value every time a new customer joins. An hour spent personally onboarding a single customer creates value only once. Most entrepreneurs spend the majority of their time on maintenance activities, some time on growth activities, and almost no time on leverage activities. This allocation ensures that they remain trapped in the day-to-day operations of their business rather than building something that can operate without them. The Oprah orchestration model. Oprah Winfrey didn't become a media mogul by doing everything herself. She became a mogul by becoming a master orchestrator who leveraged other people's time, talents, and expertise to build an empire that extended far beyond what any individual could create. In the early days of her career, Oprah was like most entrepreneurs, personally involved in every aspect of her show. She researched topics, booked guests, wrote questions, and handled countless operational details. She was working incredibly hard, but was limited by the number of hours she could personally contribute. The transformation began when Oprah started systematically delegating operational tasks to focus on the activities that only she could do. She hired producers to research topics and book guests. She brought in writers to help develop content. She built a team of specialists who could handle the technical and administrative aspects of television production. But Oprah's genius wasn't just in delegation, it was in strategic delegation. She didn't just hand off tasks randomly. She carefully analyzed which activities generated the highest return on her personal time investment and focused exclusively on those activities while systematically delegating everything else. Oprah realized that her unique value was in connecting with audiences, identifying compelling stories, and creating emotional experiences that resonated with millions of people. These were activities that couldn't be delegated because they required her specific talents and perspective. Everything else, research, logistics, technical production, business operations, could be handled by others who specialized in those areas. This strategic approach to time allocation allowed Oprah to scale her impact exponentially. Instead of being limited by her personal capacity, she became limited only by her ability to orchestrate the talents of others. Her show became a platform that could feature multiple guests, cover diverse topics, and reach global audiences, something that would have been impossible if she had remained personally involved in every operational detail. The Oprah model demonstrates a crucial principle. The highest value entrepreneurs don't do more work. They orchestrate more value creation through strategic delegation and team building. The delegation myths that keep you trapped. Most entrepreneurs want to delegate but are held back by myths that make delegation feel risky, expensive, or ineffective. These myths keep them trapped in operational roles when they should be focused on strategic leadership. The first myth is that if you want something done right, you have to do it yourself. This belief assumes that no one else can perform tasks to your standards, so delegation inevitably results in lower quality outcomes. This myth contains a grain of truth. Delegation without proper systems and training often does result in subpar results. But the myth ignores the fact that many people can perform specific tasks better than you can, especially if those tasks fall outside your core competencies. A professional bookkeeper will handle your financial records more accurately and efficiently than you will. A skilled virtual assistant will manage your calendar and email more systematically than you will. A specialized copywriter will create marketing materials more persuasively than you will. The key is not to delegate randomly, but to delegate strategically to people who have specific expertise in the areas you're delegating. When you delegate to specialists, you often get better results than you could achieve personally, not worse results. The second myth is that delegation is expensive. Entrepreneurs calculate the cost of hiring help, but ignore the opportunity cost of not hiring help. They see the $20 per hour they'd pay a virtual assistant, but miss the $200 per hour they could be generating with their freed up time. This backwards thinking treats delegation as an expense rather than an investment. In reality, effective delegation is one of the highest return investments you can make because it frees up your time for activities that generate exponentially higher returns. The third myth is that delegation means losing control. Entrepreneurs worry that delegating important tasks will result in chaos, mistakes, or outcomes that don't align with their vision. Effective delegation actually increases control by creating systems and processes that ensure consistent outcomes regardless of who executes the work. When you delegate with clear expectations, defined processes, and regular feedback mechanisms, you gain more control over results, not less. The time audit awakening. Before you can leverage your time effectively, you need to understand how you're currently spending it. Most entrepreneurs have no idea where their hours actually go. They feel busy and productive, but can't account for how their time translates into business results. The time audit is a simple but powerful exercise that reveals the truth about your time allocation. For 1 week, track every activity you do in 15-minute increments. Record what you're doing, how long it takes, and what value it creates for your business. This exercise is often shocking because it reveals how much time is spent on low-value activities that feel important but don't actually move your business forward. You'll discover that you're spending hours on tasks that could be automated, delegated, or eliminated entirely. The audit also reveals patterns that aren't obvious when you're in the middle of your daily routine. You might discover that you're most productive during certain hours of the day, but are using those peak hours for low-value activities. You might find that you're constantly switching between different types of tasks, creating inefficiency through context switching. Most importantly, the audit reveals the opportunity cost of your current time allocation. When you see how much time you're spending on $10 per hour activities while neglecting $1,000 per hour opportunities, the case for change becomes undeniable. The goal isn't to optimize every minute of your day. It's to identify the biggest opportunities for improvement and focus your optimization efforts where they'll have the greatest impact. The leverage ladder strategy. Once you understand how you're currently spending your time, you can begin the systematic process of moving up the leverage ladder. This framework provides a clear progression for transforming low-value time into high-value outcomes. The first rung of the ladder is elimination. Many activities that consume your time don't actually need to be done at all. They're busy work that makes you feel productive but doesn't contribute to your business goals. Eliminate these activities ruthlessly. Common elimination targets include excessive email checking, unnecessary meetings, perfectionist activities that provide diminishing returns, and social media browsing disguised as market research. These activities feel important in the moment but create no lasting value. The second rung is automation. Activities that can't be eliminated might be automated through technology or systems. Email responses, appointment scheduling, invoice generation, and social media posting can all be handled by software rather than personal effort. Automation is particularly powerful because it eliminates the ongoing time cost of repetitive activities. The upfront investment in setting up automation pays dividends every time the automated process runs without your involvement. The third rung is delegation. Activities that can't be eliminated or automated can often be delegated to others who can perform them more efficiently or at a lower opportunity cost than your personal involvement. Delegation works best when you delegate entire processes rather than individual tasks. Instead of asking someone to send one email, delegate the entire customer communication process. Instead of having someone update one spreadsheet, delegate the entire reporting process. The fourth rung is elevation. This is where you focus your remaining time on activities that only you can do and that generate exponential returns. Strategic planning, key relationship building, creative work, and high-level problem solving fall into this category. The goal is to systematically move activities down the ladder while moving your personal focus up the ladder. Over time, you eliminate, automate, and delegate more activities while spending increasing amounts of time on elevated work that creates lasting value. The deep work revolution. As you free up time through the leverage ladder, it becomes crucial to protect and optimize your remaining hours for maximum impact. This is where the concept of deep work becomes transformational. Deep work is the ability to focus without distraction on cognitively demanding tasks. It's the opposite of the shallow work that characterizes most entrepreneurs' days. Constant email checking, meeting hopping, and task switching that creates the illusion of productivity while preventing meaningful progress. The modern business environment is designed to prevent deep work. Constant connectivity, open office environments, and cultures that prioritize responsiveness over results create conditions where sustained focus becomes nearly impossible. But deep work is where exponential value is created. Strategic insights, creative breakthroughs, and complex problem solving all require sustained periods of focused attention. When you protect time for deep work, you can accomplish in a few hours what might otherwise take days or weeks of fragmented effort. The key to enabling deep work is creating boundaries that protect your focus from interruption. This means turning off notifications, blocking out calendar time, and creating physical environments that support concentration rather than distraction. Many entrepreneurs resist deep work because it feels selfish or unresponsive to immediate demands. They worry that customers will be upset if emails aren't answered immediately, or that opportunities will be missed if they're not constantly available. In reality, the value created during deep work sessions far exceeds the value lost through delayed responsiveness. A few hours of focused strategic thinking can generate insights that transform your entire business, while immediate email responses rarely create lasting value. The fractional specialist solution. One of the most powerful but underutilized time leverage strategies is hiring fractional specialists for specific projects or ongoing needs. Instead of hiring full-time employees or trying to develop expertise in every area, you can access world-class talent on a project or part-time basis. Fractional specialists allow you to leverage expertise that would be impossible to afford or justify on a full-time basis. A fractional CFO can provide financial strategy and oversight for a few hours per month. A fractional marketing director can develop and execute marketing strategies without the overhead of a full-time hire. A fractional operations manager can optimize your processes and systems on a project basis. This approach provides several advantages over traditional hiring. You get access to senior-level expertise at a fraction of the cost of full-time employees. You can engage specialists only when you need their specific skills, rather than paying for downtime. You can work with multiple specialists to access diverse perspectives and capabilities. Fractional specialists are particularly valuable for entrepreneurs who need expertise in areas outside their core competencies. Instead of spending months learning accounting, marketing, or operations, you can hire specialists who can deliver results immediately while teaching you what you need to know. The key to success with fractional specialists is clearly defining the outcomes you want rather than the activities you want them to perform. Focus on results rather than processes, and give specialists the freedom to apply their expertise in the way they think will be most effective. The batching breakthrough. One of the simplest but most effective time leverage techniques is batching similar activities together rather than spreading them throughout your day or week. Context switching, moving between different types of tasks, creates hidden inefficiencies that can consume hours of productive time. Every time you switch from one type of activity to another, your brain needs time to refocus and reorient. This switching cost might seem minimal for individual transitions, but it compounds throughout the day and can reduce your overall productivity by 25% or more. Batching eliminates these switching costs by grouping similar activities into dedicated time blocks. Instead of checking email throughout the day, you check it twice per day during designated email blocks. Instead of taking phone calls whenever they come in, you batch them into specific calling hours. Instead of handling administrative tasks as they arise, you dedicate specific time blocks to administrative work. This approach not only improves efficiency, but also improves the quality of your work. When you're focused on one type of activity for an extended period, you can develop momentum and flow that leads to better outcomes than fragmented attention. The key to effective batching is being ruthless about protecting your batch time blocks. Don't allow urgent interruptions to break your focus unless they're truly emergencies. Most things that feel urgent can wait a few hours without any real consequences. Batching also allows you to optimize your energy levels for different types of work. Schedule your most cognitively demanding work during your peak energy hours and batch routine tasks during your lower energy periods. The outcome-based delegation framework. The biggest challenge with delegation isn't finding people to help, it's ensuring that delegated work meets your standards and expectations. Most delegation fails because entrepreneurs delegate tasks rather than outcomes, creating confusion about expectations and accountability. Outcome-based delegation solves this problem by focusing on results rather than processes. Instead of telling someone how to do something, you clearly define what success looks like and let them determine the best way to achieve it. This approach requires a fundamental shift in how you think about delegation. Instead of being a micromanager who controls every detail, you become a strategic leader who sets clear expectations and provides the resources needed for success. Effective outcome-based delegation includes several key components. First, clearly define the desired outcome in specific, measurable terms. Instead of saying, improve our social media presence, say, increase our Instagram followers by 25% and engagement rate by 15% within 90 days. Second, provide context about why the outcome matters and how it fits into your broader business goals. This helps the person you're delegating to make good decisions when they encounter situations you haven't anticipated. Third, establish clear deadlines and check-in points so you can monitor progress without micromanaging. Regular communication ensures that problems are identified early and that the work stays aligned with your expectations. Fourth, provide the resources, tools, and authority needed to achieve the desired outcome. Don't delegate responsibility without also delegating the authority and resources needed for success. Finally, establish clear metrics for measuring success and create accountability mechanisms that ensure the work gets done to your standards. The Strategic Thinking Sanctuary. As you successfully implement time leverage strategies, you'll find yourself with something that most entrepreneurs never experience: unstructured time for strategic thinking. This is both an opportunity and a challenge because many entrepreneurs don't know how to use this freed up time effectively. The temptation is to fill this time with more operational work or to use it for personal activities. While both of these uses have value, they miss the exponential opportunity that strategic thinking time provides. Strategic thinking time is where you work on your business rather than in your business. It's where you identify new opportunities, solve complex problems, develop long-term plans, and create the insights that drive exponential growth rather than linear progress. This time should be protected as fiercely as you protect your most important client meetings. Schedule it on your calendar, eliminate distractions, and treat it as non-negotiable. Many successful entrepreneurs schedule weekly or monthly strategic thinking retreats where they step away from operations entirely to focus on big-picture thinking. During strategic thinking time, ask yourself questions that can only be answered through deep reflection. What trends are emerging in your industry that could create new opportunities? What capabilities should you be building for the future? What partnerships could accelerate your growth? What systems could you create that would make your business more valuable? The insights generated during strategic thinking time often have more impact on your business than months of operational work. A single strategic insight can redirect your entire business toward more profitable opportunities or help you avoid costly mistakes. The freedom paradox. When time leverage is working properly, something paradoxical happens. The more freedom you create, the more valuable your remaining time becomes. This creates both opportunities and challenges that most entrepreneurs aren't prepared for. The opportunity is that your freed up time can be invested in exponentially higher value activities. Instead of spending time on $50 per hour tasks, you can focus on $5,000 per hour opportunities. Instead of working in your business, you can work on building assets that generate wealth without your ongoing involvement. The challenge is that this freedom can be overwhelming if you don't have clear priorities and systems for using it effectively. Many entrepreneurs who successfully delegate operational tasks find themselves drifting without clear direction or filling their time with busy work that feels important but doesn't create value. The solution is to be as intentional about using your freed up time as you were about creating it. Develop clear priorities for how you want to invest your highest value hours. Create systems and processes that ensure your strategic time is used effectively rather than squandered on low-value activities. Remember that the goal of time leverage isn't to work less, it's to work on things that matter more. The most successful entrepreneurs use their freed up time to build capabilities, relationships, and assets that create lasting value rather than just immediate income. This transformation from time scarcity to time abundance represents a fundamental shift in your relationship with your business. You're no longer limited by your personal capacity to execute tasks. You're limited only by your ability to think strategically and orchestrate the efforts of others. But even the most sophisticated time leverage strategies can be undermined if you're not maintaining clear visibility into your financial position and making data-driven decisions about resource allocation. The next challenge isn't just freeing up your time, it's ensuring that the wealth you're building is being tracked, protected, and optimized with the precision of a master craftsman. Chapter 8, Control Finances. There's a moment that reveals everything about your relationship with money. It happens when someone asks you a simple question: what's your exact net worth right now? Most entrepreneurs freeze. They stammer. They give vague estimates or deflect with humor. They know roughly how much money is in their checking account, but they have no idea what their total financial picture looks like. They've built businesses, generated revenue, and accumulated assets, but they can't tell you with precision whether they're actually getting wealthier or just getting busier. This ignorance isn't just embarrassing, it's financially dangerous. When you don't know your numbers, you can't make intelligent decisions about your money. When you can't track your progress, you can't optimize your strategy. When you abdicate financial awareness to others, you surrender the very control that wealth is supposed to provide. But there's a different way to engage with your finances. A way that transforms money from a source of stress into a tool of empowerment. A way that turns financial management from a chore into a competitive advantage. What I'm about to share with you is the difference between entrepreneurs who hope they're building wealth and those who know they're building wealth. It's the distinction between being rich on paper and being truly financially sovereign. It's the secret that separates those who control their money from those whose money controls them. The blindfold economy. Most successful people are walking around financially blindfolded. They've outsourced their financial awareness to accountants, financial advisors, and money managers who promise to handle the complicated stuff while they focus on their businesses. This delegation feels sophisticated and efficient. Why should a busy entrepreneur spend time on financial details when they could be growing their business? Why learn about investment strategies when professionals can handle those decisions? Why track expenses when bookkeepers can manage the numbers? The answer is simple, because ignorance is expensive and awareness is profitable. When you don't understand your financial position, you make suboptimal decisions every single day. You might be paying fees that you don't know about. You might be missing tax deductions that could save thousands of dollars. You might be holding investments that no longer serve your goals. You might be spending money on things that don't actually improve your life or business. More insidiously, financial ignorance creates a dependency that undermines the very independence that wealth is supposed to provide. When you don't understand your own finances, you're at the mercy of others' expertise, honesty, and competence. You become a passenger in your own financial journey rather than the driver. The entrepreneurs who build lasting wealth understand something that most people miss. Financial control isn't about micromanaging every transaction. It's about maintaining strategic awareness that enables intelligent decision-making. It's about knowing your numbers well enough to spot opportunities, avoid mistakes, and optimize your wealth-building strategy. This awareness doesn't require becoming a financial expert or spending hours every day on money management. It requires developing simple systems that provide clear visibility into your financial position and progress. The sovereignty principle. True financial independence isn't just about having enough money. It's about having enough control over your money to make decisions that align with your values and goals. This control requires what I call financial sovereignty, the ability to understand, track, and direct your financial resources without depending on others for basic awareness. Financial sovereignty doesn't mean doing everything yourself. It means understanding enough about your finances to make informed decisions about what to delegate and what to manage personally. It means being able to evaluate the advice you receive from professionals rather than blindly following their recommendations. This sovereignty becomes increasingly important as your wealth grows. The more money you have, the more people will want to manage it for you. Financial advisors, wealth managers, and investment professionals will promise to handle the complexity while you focus on other priorities. Some of these professionals provide genuine value, but others are primarily interested in generating fees from your assets. Without sufficient financial literacy to evaluate their recommendations, you can't distinguish between advice that serves your interests and advice that serves theirs. Financial sovereignty also protects you from the cognitive biases that lead to poor financial decisions. When you understand your numbers and track your progress systematically, you're less likely to make emotional decisions based on fear or greed. You're more likely to stick to your long-term strategy rather than chasing short-term trends. The goal isn't to become a financial expert. It's to become financially literate enough to maintain control over your wealth-building strategy while leveraging professional expertise where it adds genuine value. The Kiyosaki Clarity Method. Robert Kiyosaki, author of Rich Dad, Poor Dad, built his wealth philosophy around a simple but powerful principle. Rich people know their numbers. While others focus on income, Kiyosaki focused on assets, liabilities, and cash flow. While others delegated financial awareness, Kiyosaki maintained hands-on control over his financial education. Kiyosaki's approach wasn't about becoming an accountant or spending all his time on financial management. It was about developing enough financial literacy to make intelligent investment decisions and avoid the mistakes that keep most people trapped in financial mediocrity. This literacy enabled Kiyosaki to recognize opportunities that others missed. When he saw real estate deals, he could quickly analyze their cash flow potential and return on investment. When he evaluated business opportunities, he could assess their financial viability and growth potential. When he received investment advice, he could evaluate its merits rather than blindly following recommendations. More importantly, Kiyosaki's financial literacy allowed him to think strategically about wealth building rather than just income generation. He understood the difference between assets that put money in his pocket and liabilities that took money out of his pocket. He focused on acquiring assets that generated passive income rather than just increasing his earned income. This strategic thinking led Kiyosaki to build a portfolio of real estate investments, businesses, and intellectual property that generated wealth independently of his personal efforts. His financial literacy enabled him to see opportunities and make decisions that others couldn't see or make. The key insight from Kiyosaki's approach is that financial literacy isn't just about understanding money. It's about developing the cognitive framework that enables wealth-building decisions. When you understand financial principles, you can recognize opportunities, avoid traps, and make strategic choices that compound over time. The delegation delusion. The biggest myth about financial management is that successful people delegate everything to professionals. This myth suggests that once you reach a certain level of wealth, you should hand over all financial decisions to experts who can manage your money better than you can. This delegation delusion is promoted by the financial services industry because it serves their interests. The more you delegate, the more fees they can charge. The less you understand, the less likely you are to question their recommendations or seek better alternatives. But delegation without understanding is abdication, not sophistication. When you don't understand the basics of your financial situation, you can't evaluate whether your advisors are serving your interests or their own. You can't distinguish between good advice and self-serving recommendations. The most successful entrepreneurs maintain strategic oversight of their finances while delegating tactical execution to specialists. They understand enough about investing to evaluate their advisor's recommendations. They know enough about taxes to ensure their accountant is maximizing deductions. They comprehend enough about business finances to make informed decisions about capital allocation. This approach provides the best of both worlds: professional expertise, where it adds value, combined with personal oversight that ensures your interests are protected. You leverage others' specialized knowledge while maintaining control over strategic decisions. The key is to delegate tasks, not responsibility. You can have others prepare your financial statements, but you should understand what they mean. You can have advisors recommend investments, but you should understand why they're recommending them. You can have accountants handle your taxes, but you should understand the strategies they're using. The dashboard revolution. The foundation of financial control is visibility. You can't manage what you can't measure, and you can't optimize what you can't see. This is why the most financially successful people create simple dashboards that provide clear visibility into their financial position and progress. A financial dashboard isn't a complex spreadsheet with hundreds of line items. It's a simple visual representation of your key financial metrics that can be updated quickly and reviewed regularly. The goal is to create a tool that provides maximum insight with minimum effort. The most important metrics for your dashboard are net worth, cash flow, investment performance, and debt levels. These 4 numbers tell you everything you need to know about your financial health and progress toward your wealth-building goals. Net worth is your total assets minus your total liabilities. This number represents your accumulated wealth and should be growing consistently over time. Track both your liquid net worth, assets that can be easily converted to cash, and your total net worth, including illiquid assets like real estate and business equity. Cash flow is your income minus your expenses over a specific period. Positive cash flow means you're spending less than you earn, creating surplus that can be invested for wealth building. Negative cash flow means you're spending more than you earn, which is unsustainable long term. Investment performance tracks the returns on your investment portfolio relative to your goals and market benchmarks. This helps you evaluate whether your investment strategy is working and whether you need to make adjustments. Debt levels track your total liabilities and debt service requirements. While some debt can be beneficial for wealth building, excessive debt can limit your financial flexibility and increase your risk. Update your dashboard monthly and review it regularly to track your progress and identify trends that require attention. The goal isn't to obsess over short-term fluctuations, but to maintain awareness of your long-term trajectory. The 3-tier budget system. Most budgeting systems fail because they're either too restrictive or too vague. Restrictive budgets feel like financial straitjackets that eliminate all spontaneity and enjoyment. Vague budgets provide no real guidance for spending decisions and don't help you optimize your financial resources. The 3-tier budget system solves these problems by creating different spending plans for different financial scenarios. Instead of having one rigid budget, you have 3 flexible frameworks that adapt to your changing income and circumstances. The foundation tier represents your minimum viable lifestyle, the amount you need to cover essential expenses and maintain a basic standard of living. This includes housing, utilities, transportation, insurance, and other non-negotiable expenses. This tier helps you understand your true financial floor and ensures you can maintain financial stability even if your income fluctuates. The comfort tier includes your foundation expenses plus discretionary spending that enhances your quality of life without being extravagant. This might include dining out, entertainment, travel, and other lifestyle upgrades that provide genuine value. This tier represents a sustainable lifestyle that you can maintain long-term without compromising your wealth-building goals. The growth tier maximizes your reinvestment rate by minimizing lifestyle spending while maintaining reasonable comfort. This tier is designed for periods when you want to accelerate your wealth building by directing maximum resources toward investment and business growth. Having 3 tiers provides flexibility while maintaining financial discipline. During high-income periods, you can operate at the comfort or growth tier. During lower income periods, you can drop to the foundation tier without feeling deprived or making drastic lifestyle changes. The key is to be intentional about which tier you're operating in and why. Don't drift between tiers unconsciously. Make deliberate decisions based on your current financial situation and wealth-building goals. The account architecture strategy. One of the simplest but most effective financial control techniques is organizing your accounts to support your financial goals rather than just convenience. Most people have a random collection of accounts that evolved over time without any strategic purpose. Strategic account architecture uses different accounts for different purposes, creating automatic systems that support your financial goals. This approach leverages behavioral psychology to make good financial decisions easier and bad financial decisions harder. Start with a color-coded system that makes your account purposes immediately clear. Green accounts are for growth, investment accounts, retirement accounts, and other vehicles designed to build long-term wealth. Money that goes into green accounts should stay there and compound over time. Yellow accounts are for operations, checking accounts, business accounts, and other vehicles designed to handle your day-to-day financial needs. Money flows in and out of yellow accounts regularly as part of your normal financial operations. Red accounts are for emergencies, savings accounts, and other vehicles designed to provide financial security during unexpected events. Money in red accounts should only be touched for genuine emergencies, not for investment opportunities or lifestyle upgrades. This color coding system makes it immediately clear what each account is for and how money should flow between them. When you're tempted to spend money from a green account on a lifestyle upgrade, the color coding reminds you that this money is designated for wealth building, not consumption. Automate transfers between accounts to ensure money flows according to your strategic plan rather than your momentary impulses. Set up automatic transfers from your income to your investment accounts, emergency funds, and other strategic purposes before you have the opportunity to spend the money on other things. The Security Fortress Framework. As your wealth grows, protecting it becomes as important as building it. Financial security isn't just about having enough money. It's about ensuring that your money is protected from theft, fraud, and other threats that could undermine your financial position. The foundation of financial security is strong authentication and monitoring systems. Use two-factor authentication on all financial accounts to prevent unauthorized access. Set up account alerts that notify you immediately of any transactions, login attempts, or changes to your accounts. Monitor your credit reports regularly to ensure that no one is opening accounts or taking on debt in your name. Identity theft can be financially devastating, but it's much easier to address when it's caught early rather than after significant damage has been done. Diversify your financial institutions to reduce concentration risk. Don't keep all your money in one bank or all your investments with one broker. If something happens to one institution, you want to ensure that your entire financial position isn't compromised. Consider cybersecurity insurance and other protections that can help you recover from financial crimes. As your wealth grows, you become a more attractive target for sophisticated fraud schemes, so professional-grade protection becomes increasingly important. The goal isn't to become paranoid about security threats, but to implement reasonable protections that safeguard your wealth without creating excessive complexity or inconvenience. The monthly money meeting. The most successful entrepreneurs treat financial management like any other important business function. They schedule regular meetings to review performance, identify issues, and make strategic decisions. The monthly money meeting is a simple but powerful ritual that ensures you maintain control over your financial trajectory. Schedule a recurring monthly meeting with yourself and your spouse if you're married to review your financial dashboard, assess your progress toward your goals, and make any necessary adjustments to your strategy. This meeting should take no more than 30 minutes, but should be treated as seriously as any important business meeting. During the meeting, review your key financial metrics and compare them to your goals and previous month's performance. Look for trends that indicate progress or problems. Identify any unusual expenses or income items that need explanation or attention. Use the meeting to make strategic decisions about resource allocation, investment adjustments, and spending priorities. This is when you decide whether to increase your investment contributions, rebalance your portfolio, or adjust your budget based on changing circumstances. The meeting also provides an opportunity to review and update your financial goals based on new information or changing priorities. Your wealth-building strategy should evolve as your situation changes, and the monthly meeting ensures that your tactics remain aligned with your objectives. Document the key decisions and action items from each meeting so you can track your progress and ensure that important tasks don't fall through the cracks. This documentation also provides valuable historical context for future decision-making. The Fee Elimination Campaign. One of the most overlooked aspects of financial control is fee management. Financial fees might seem small individually, but they compound over time and can consume a significant portion of your wealth if left unchecked. Investment management fees, bank fees, credit card fees, and other financial charges can easily total thousands of dollars annually for successful entrepreneurs. Over decades, these fees can cost hundreds of thousands of dollars in lost wealth due to the compound effect of money that could have been invested instead of paid in fees. Conduct a quarterly fee audit to identify all the fees you're paying and evaluate whether they're justified by the value you're receiving. Many fees can be eliminated or reduced through simple account changes or by negotiating with service providers. Investment fees are often the largest and most impactful. A 1% annual management fee might not seem significant, but it can reduce your long-term wealth by 20% or more due to the compound effect. Consider low-cost index funds and ETFs that provide market returns with minimal fees. Bank fees can often be eliminated by maintaining minimum balances, using in-network ATMs, or switching to banks that offer fee-free accounts. Credit card fees can be avoided by paying balances in full each month and choosing cards with no annual fees. The goal isn't to eliminate all fees. Some fees are justified by genuine value, but many fees are simply profit centers for financial institutions that provide no real benefit to you. By actively managing your fee exposure, you can redirect thousands of dollars annually from financial institutions to your own wealth-building efforts. The decision-making framework. Financial control isn't just about tracking numbers, it's about using those numbers to make better decisions. This requires a systematic framework for evaluating financial choices rather than relying on intuition or emotion. For major financial decisions, use a structured analysis that considers multiple factors: the financial impact, the opportunity cost, the risk level, and the alignment with your long-term goals. This analysis doesn't need to be complex, but it should be consistent and thorough. Calculate the true cost of major purchases by considering not just the purchase price, but also the opportunity cost of the money if it were invested instead. A $50,000 car doesn't just cost $50,000, it costs whatever that $50,000 could have grown to over time if invested. Evaluate investment opportunities using clear criteria rather than emotional reactions. Consider the expected return, the risk level, the liquidity, and how the investment fits into your overall portfolio. Don't chase hot investment trends or make decisions based on fear or greed. For business investments, analyze the return on investment and payback period to ensure that you're deploying capital efficiently. Not all business investments are created equal, and systematic analysis helps you prioritize the opportunities with the highest potential returns. The framework should also include decision rules that prevent you from making impulsive choices that could undermine your long-term strategy. Set maximum loss limits for speculative investments, minimum return requirements for new opportunities, and cooling-off periods for major financial decisions. The confidence compound effect. When financial control is working properly, something powerful happens. Your confidence in financial decision-making begins to compound. As you develop better systems, track your progress more accurately, and make more informed decisions, your results improve, which increases your confidence, which leads to even better decisions. This confidence compound effect is one of the most valuable but underappreciated benefits of financial control. When you understand your numbers and trust your decision-making process, you're more likely to take calculated risks that can accelerate your wealth building. When you're uncertain about your financial position, you're more likely to make conservative choices that limit your upside potential. Financial confidence also reduces the stress and anxiety that many entrepreneurs experience around money. When you know your numbers and have systems in place to track your progress, money becomes a tool rather than a source of worry. You can focus your mental energy on creating value rather than worrying about financial security. This confidence enables you to think more strategically about wealth building rather than just income generation. You can evaluate opportunities based on their long-term potential rather than their immediate cash flow impact. You can make decisions that optimize for wealth rather than just comfort. The compound effect extends beyond just financial decisions. As your financial confidence grows, you're more likely to take strategic risks in your business, pursue ambitious goals, and invest in opportunities that can create exponential rather than linear returns. But financial control is just the foundation for something even more powerful. Once you've mastered the discipline of tracking, understanding, and optimizing your financial resources, you're ready to integrate everything you've learned into a comprehensive system that doesn't just build wealth. It creates the ultimate prize that money can buy, complete freedom to live life on your own terms. Chapter 9, Financial Freedom. You've reached the summit. Not the summit of this book, though that's true too, but the summit of something far more valuable, a complete understanding of how wealth is really built in the modern economy. Most people spend their entire lives climbing the wrong mountain. They hustle harder, work longer, and sacrifice more, believing that effort alone will eventually deliver the freedom they crave. They reach the top of the hustle mountain only to discover they're still trapped. Richer, perhaps, but not truly free. You've climbed a different mountain entirely. You've learned to build systems that work when you don't. You've discovered how to multiply your time, your money, and your impact through leverage. You've mastered the art of creating assets that generate wealth while you sleep. But here's what makes this moment truly special. You're not just at the end of a learning journey. You're at the beginning of a transformation that will ripple through every aspect of your life for decades to come. What you've learned in these pages isn't just about money, it's about freedom. It's about choice. It's about the power to live life entirely on your own terms. The architecture of liberation. Let's take a moment to appreciate what you've built, not just intellectually, but practically. You now possess a complete blueprint for financial freedom that most people will never discover. You started with a mindset shift that transformed you from a consumer into an investor. This wasn't just a change in thinking, it was a fundamental rewiring of your relationship with money, time, and opportunity. You learned to see every dollar as a soldier in your wealth-building army, every hour as a strategic asset to be leveraged, every decision as a choice between your current self and your future self. From that foundation, you built automation systems that liberate your time and multiply your efforts. You discovered how to turn repetitive tasks into set-and-forget workflows, how to create digital employees that work 24/7 without breaks or complaints, how to build income streams that flow whether you're at your desk or on a beach. You then constructed robust systems that transform fragile one-off wins into durable, repeatable assets. You learned to document your best practices, optimize your processes, and create operational frameworks that work independently of your personal involvement. You built a business that runs on systems instead of heroics. Next, you diversified your income streams to create an ecosystem of wealth generation that's resilient to market changes and economic disruptions. You discovered how to stack complementary passive income sources that support and reinforce each other, creating stability through diversity and growth through synergy. You mastered the discipline of reinvestment, learning to resist lifestyle inflation and deploy your surplus capital for maximum compound growth. You discovered how to turn temporary income into permanent wealth, how to make your money hire more money, how to create exponential rather than linear wealth accumulation. You developed time leverage strategies that free you from the tyranny of trading hours for dollars. You learned to identify high-value activities that only you can do while systematically delegating or eliminating everything else. You discovered how to work on your business instead of in your business. Finally, you established financial control systems that give you complete visibility into your wealth-building progress. You learned to track your numbers, optimize your strategies, and make data-driven decisions that accelerate your journey to financial independence. Each of these components is powerful individually, but together they create something extraordinary, a self-reinforcing wealth engine that becomes more effective over time while requiring less of your personal input. The confidence revolution. Something profound happens when you implement these strategies consistently over time. The anxiety and uncertainty that plague most entrepreneurs begin to fade, replaced by a quiet confidence that comes from knowing you're in control of your financial destiny. This isn't the false confidence of someone who's gotten lucky, or the temporary confidence of someone riding a hot streak. This is the deep, unshakable confidence that comes from understanding how wealth is really built and having systems in place that create predictable results. You no longer worry about market downturns because you have diversified income streams that respond differently to economic conditions. You no longer stress about cash flow because you have automated systems that generate revenue while you sleep. You no longer fear competition because you're building assets rather than just trading time for money. This confidence transforms how you show up in every area of your life. You negotiate from a position of strength because you're not desperate for any particular deal. You take calculated risks because you have systems that can absorb temporary setbacks. You think strategically about long-term opportunities because you're not trapped in short-term survival mode. The confidence also enables you to be more generous with your time, attention, and resources. When you're not constantly worried about your own financial security, you can focus on creating value for others. When you're not scrambling to pay bills, you can invest in relationships, experiences, and causes that matter to you. This shift from scarcity thinking to abundance thinking affects everything from your business decisions to your personal relationships. You become someone who creates opportunities rather than someone who competes for them. You become someone who builds wealth rather than someone who chases money. The relationship renaissance. Financial freedom doesn't just change your bank account, it transforms your relationships. When you're no longer trapped by financial constraints, you can show up differently for the people who matter most to you. You can be present with your family because you're not constantly stressed about money or chained to your business. You can take vacations without checking email every 5 minutes because your systems continue generating income while you're away. You can attend your children's events, have dinner with your spouse, and maintain friendships because your wealth building doesn't require your constant personal involvement. The quality of your relationships improves because you're no longer bringing financial stress and time scarcity into your interactions. You can listen more deeply, engage more fully, and contribute more meaningfully to the lives of people you care about. You also gain the ability to be genuinely generous in ways that weren't possible when you were trapped in the hustle cycle. You can support causes you believe in, help family members achieve their goals, and contribute to your community without worrying about the financial impact on your own security. This generosity creates a positive feedback loop that enhances your relationships and expands your network. People want to be around someone who's generous with their time, attention, and resources. Your ability to give creates opportunities for deeper connections and more meaningful relationships. The transformation extends to your professional relationships as well. You can choose clients and partners based on alignment and opportunity rather than desperation. You can say no to projects that don't excite you and yes to collaborations that create mutual value. You can build a network based on genuine relationships rather than transactional exchanges. The freedom portfolio. True financial freedom isn't just about having enough money. It's about having enough options. When your passive income exceeds your living expenses, you unlock a portfolio of freedoms that most people never experience. You gain location freedom, the ability to live and work from anywhere in the world. Your income isn't tied to a specific geographic location, so you can choose where to live based on quality of life, cost of living, or personal preferences, rather than economic necessity. You gain time freedom, the ability to structure your days according to your energy, interests, and priorities rather than external demands. You can work when you're most productive, rest when you need to recharge, and pursue personal interests without worrying about the financial consequences. You gain project freedom, the ability to choose work based on passion, impact, and growth potential rather than immediate financial needs. You can pursue ambitious projects that might take years to pay off, experiment with new ideas without risking your survival, and say no to opportunities that don't align with your values or goals. You gain relationship freedom, the ability to spend time with people you enjoy rather than people you need for financial reasons. You can prioritize relationships that enrich your life rather than relationships that advance your career or business interests. You gain learning freedom, the ability to pursue knowledge and skills based on curiosity and interest rather than immediate practical application. You can take courses, attend conferences, read books, and explore ideas without worrying about the immediate return on investment. Most importantly, you gain the freedom to take risks that can create exponential rather than linear returns. When your basic needs are covered by passive income, you can pursue opportunities that have high upside potential, even if they also have high failure rates. The compound mastery effect. As you implement these wealth-building strategies over time, something remarkable happens. The systems begin to optimize themselves. Each cycle of the wealth engine becomes more efficient, requiring less input while generating greater output. Your automation systems become more sophisticated as you identify new opportunities for efficiency. Your business systems become more refined as you eliminate waste and optimize processes. Your investment portfolio becomes more effective as you learn from experience and adjust your allocation. This compound mastery effect means that wealth building becomes easier over time, not harder. The early stages require significant effort to establish systems and build momentum, but once the systems are in place and working effectively, they begin to generate results with minimal ongoing input. Your passive income streams become truly passive as automation handles more of the operational requirements. Your business systems become more autonomous as documentation and training enable others to execute processes without your direct involvement. Your investment portfolio becomes more hands-off as you develop confidence in your strategy and resist the temptation to constantly tinker with your allocation. This progression from active wealth building to passive wealth accumulation represents the ultimate goal of the strategies you've learned. You're not just building wealth, you're building a wealth-generating machine that becomes more effective over time while requiring less of your personal attention. The compound effect extends beyond just financial results. Your skills in systems thinking, strategic planning, and resource optimization become more refined with practice. Your ability to identify opportunities, evaluate risks, and make decisions improves through experience. Your confidence in your wealth-building abilities grows as you see consistent results from your efforts. The Robbins Revelation. Tony Robbins exemplifies what's possible when you fully implement the principles you've learned in this book. But Robbins' story isn't just about personal wealth. It's about using wealth as a platform for creating massive value and impact in the world. Robbins started with nothing more than the desire to help people and the willingness to work harder than anyone else. But early in his career, he made a crucial discovery. Helping one person at a time would never allow him to create the impact he envisioned. He needed to build systems that could scale his influence and create passive income that would fund his larger mission. Robbins systematically built multiple income streams that leveraged his core expertise in different formats and delivery mechanisms. His live seminars generated immediate revenue while building his brand and reputation. His books created passive royalty income while expanding his reach to global audiences. His audio programs provided scalable income while serving customers who couldn't attend live events. But Robbins didn't stop with diversified income streams. He reinvested his profits into building a comprehensive business empire that included coaching programs, online courses, investment funds, and strategic partnerships. Each new venture leveraged his existing assets while creating new sources of passive income. Today, Robin's wealth-generating systems operate largely without his day-to-day involvement, freeing him to focus on his highest-value activities, creating new content, building strategic relationships, and pursuing philanthropic initiatives. His passive income funds a foundation that has provided over 850 million meals to people in need and supports numerous other charitable causes. Robin's story demonstrates the ultimate potential of the strategies you've learned. When you build wealth through systems rather than just personal effort, you create the resources and freedom to pursue purposes larger than yourself. You become someone who doesn't just accumulate wealth, but who uses wealth to create value and impact in the world. The 7-Day Challenge. Knowledge without action is worthless. You now have a complete blueprint for building passive income and achieving financial freedom. But blueprints don't build buildings. Action does. Your transformation begins with a single commitment. Within the next 7 days, you will launch your first micro passive income stream. Not plan to launch, not research how to launch. Actually launch. This microstream doesn't need to be perfect, comprehensive, or immediately profitable. It needs to be real, active, and generating its first dollar of passive income within 1 week. The goal isn't to create your entire financial freedom strategy in 7 days. It's to break the inertia that keeps most people trapped in planning mode rather than execution mode. Choose the simplest possible passive income opportunity that aligns with your existing skills and resources. If you have expertise in a particular area, create a simple digital guide and sell it online. If you have a following on social media, promote an affiliate product that you genuinely use and recommend. If you have some capital available, invest in a dividend-paying stock or REIT that will generate immediate passive income. The specific opportunity matters less than the act of starting. What matters is that you move from consumer to creator, from employee to entrepreneur, from someone who thinks about passive income to someone who generates passive income. Document your progress and results from this first microstream. Track how much time you invest, how much income you generate, and what you learn from the process. This documentation will become the foundation for optimizing and scaling your passive income efforts. Once your first microstream is generating income, even if it's just a few dollars, you'll have crossed a psychological threshold that most people never cross. You'll have proven to yourself that passive income is real, achievable, and within your capabilities. This proof will give you the confidence and momentum to build additional streams and scale your wealth-building efforts. The 7-day timeline isn't arbitrary. It's designed to prevent perfectionism and analysis paralysis from derailing your progress. When you have only 7 days to launch something, you can't afford to overthink every detail or wait for perfect conditions. You have to focus on the essential elements and take action despite uncertainty. The legacy you're building. What you're building extends far beyond your personal financial freedom. You're creating a legacy that will impact your family, your community, and potentially the world for generations to come. When you achieve financial freedom through the strategies in this book, you become a model for others who are trapped in the hustle cycle. Your success demonstrates that there's a different way to build wealth, a way that creates freedom rather than just money, impact rather than just income, legacy rather than just lifestyle. Your children will grow up seeing someone who controls their time rather than being controlled by financial pressures. They'll learn that wealth is built through systems and strategy rather than just hard work and sacrifice. They'll understand that money is a tool for creating freedom and impact rather than just accumulating possessions. Your business will become a model for how companies can operate profitably while treating employees well, serving customers excellently, and contributing positively to society. When you're not desperate for every dollar, you can make decisions based on long-term value creation rather than short-term profit maximization. Your community will benefit from your increased ability to contribute time, resources, and expertise to causes that matter. When you're financially free, you can focus on creating value for others rather than just extracting value for yourself. The ripple effects of your transformation will extend far beyond what you can see or measure. Every person you inspire to build passive income will inspire others. Every system you create will be studied and replicated. Every dollar you generate through ethical wealth building will demonstrate that success and integrity are not mutually exclusive. You're not just building personal wealth, you're contributing to a movement of entrepreneurs who understand that true success is measured not just by what you accumulate, but by what you create, contribute, and leave behind. The moment of truth. You stand at a crossroads that will determine the trajectory of your entire life. Behind you lies the familiar path of trading time for money, of building jobs disguised as businesses, of hoping that working harder will eventually deliver the freedom you crave. Ahead of you lies a different path entirely, the path of leverage, systems, and strategic wealth building. The path that leads not just to financial success, but to genuine freedom. The path that transforms you from someone who chases money into someone who creates value. The path that builds not just wealth, but legacy. The choice is yours, and the time is now. Every day you delay is a day of compound growth you'll never recover. Every week you spend planning instead of executing is a week that your future self will wish you had acted. Every month you remain trapped in the hustle cycle is a month stolen from the freedom you could be building. The entrepreneurs who achieve financial freedom aren't the ones with the best plans. They're the ones who start before they feel ready, who act despite uncertainty, who build while others debate. The clock is ticking, not because there's an artificial deadline, but because time itself is your scarcest resource. Every moment you spend reading about passive income instead of building passive income is a moment that could have been generating wealth while you sleep. You have everything you need. You have the knowledge, the framework, and the blueprint. You have examples of others who have walked this path successfully. You have access to tools and resources that previous generations could never have imagined. The only thing standing between you and financial freedom is the decision to begin. Make that decision now. Not tomorrow, not next week, not when conditions are perfect, now. Your future self is counting on you. Your family is counting on you. Your dreams are counting on you. The world needs more entrepreneurs who understand that wealth is built through value creation, not value extraction, who build businesses that serve customers excellently while generating passive income, who create systems that work for everyone involved rather than just the founder. You have the power to become one of those entrepreneurs. You have the knowledge to build wealth that creates freedom. You have the opportunity to transform not just your own life, but the lives of everyone you touch. The only question that remains is this: will you? The answer to that question will determine everything that follows. Choose wisely, choose boldly, choose now. Your journey to financial freedom begins with your next action. Make it count.